What is up, my favorite people? How are we living? Happy Tuesday. Keith, how are you, man?
It's the best day of my life, Ben. How you living?
Today's freaking awesome. I'm super excited for today's topic, and we got some legends here in the chat, so we may as well say what up to everyone.
What
Brand
up,
one,
chat?
how you living? Welcome back. Juro, hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. How are you? What a sale. Always good to see you. We're so happy to have you with us, Jerry. Dave, what up? How y'all living? How y'all living? We appreciate having all of you guys. Welcome back. Welcome back.
Let's go. Yes. So nice to see you all on this beautiful Tuesday. I
That's it.
mean, it's a crazy day. We got the Fed chairman potentially getting confirmed in real time right now.
Yeah, that's the perfect timing for this. So it really worked out. And Asipa, producer Asipa, and Keith were cooking up some research on this guy. So we're gonna go through, explain what may be coming if Warsh gets in there, and because he's an interesting cat, man. Definitely from the crypto perspective.
Interesting cat from the crypto perspective. Interesting cat from just the TradFi perspective. I mean, this guy's balling, by the
He's
way. Like,
he's in there. Oh yeah, we'll walk through his. When you get a position like this, you have to disclose all of your holdings, right?
yeah,
And so
yeah.
he had to publicly disclose this stuff. And I loved what you said. I think it was last episode where you're like, "This we might be the first time we have a crypto degen as the Fed chair,"
Yeah,
which is
man.
pretty insane to think about.
That's legitimately what is going on right now. This guy, first off, we'll just dive into that. I mean, he's got a net worth north of 100. Some have said up to around $200 million.
His wife's also hella rich, right?
Correct, correct. His wife is the daughter of Estee Lauder, I believe, or the granddaughter. I forget exactly what one it
I
is,
liked how
but
you add that little sauce on that.
I
Lauder.
try my best. I just don't know how to pronounce
No,
it.
you're better at all that stuff than me. I sound so white when I say shit.
but um, but yeah, so um big bankrolling, and then we also know for a fact that he's got a nice amount of crypto in his portfolio, and he's also just made a lot of comments on crypto this entire time. So what we're
Man.
going to talk about today is like, okay, we get a pro crypto Fed chairman. What does that actually mean, right? What
Hmm.
can the Fed actually influence, and to what degree is this guy in the game as well? Because it seems like he's pretty deep in the game.
That's the biggest thing for me, right? Is that because we'll show some videos of him talking, and it's not just like he's open to the idea. This guy is he's in there.
Yeah, yeah. Which is just super fascinating, man. Like, who would have thought that we'd get to the place to where, you know, I mean, the entire US administration is all in on it, but even the Fed chair, like that's like the most conservative position. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying?
Look at Powell, right? He's like the
Yeah.
he kinda seems like he was made in a lab for that job. Like, he does seem pretty well suited. Of course, him and, Trump beef a lot, but for what that job is, or at least my understanding of it, guy seems like kind of the perfect temperament for that position.
No doubt. It's actually incredible to see how well he's been able to take and navigate the situation. How much of it's theater, I don't know, but like just the ability to take the public criticism over and over again, having investigation launched against him now Jerome Powell has had to deal with. And it's just like, whoa,
It's
that's crazy.
so funny how all this stuff happened where he in the Fed chair became, like, a main character for a lot of people that would have probably, in different timelines, would have never even heard of that position
So true.
realistically, right? And then it became a major thing on crypto where basically people were writing on his every word in terms of, will this impact crypto? I remember when I first started watching content on people that covered the space a lot, and they talked about him all the time, right? Or like what would be said, especially during COVID and stuff too, right? Because how long has he been around
Albert
for?
One. Yes. Well, technically, first term for Trump. So
Okay,
2016, I believe, is
that
around when he
that
was
checks
getting in
out.
there.
Okay.
But yeah, you're right. Like, no one knew who he was until 2020, but everyone knew who he was. You know what I'm saying
Mhm.
at that point.
And that's also a guy I've mentioned on the show a bunch, Sami. I love his stuff. Go show him some love. He basically said, he's like, "We got ourselves into too much trouble with all the money printing memes." Like, he's like, they knew we knew too much, so they couldn't let us get it like we used to. So, like, they
Mm,
had to screw with us a bit.
yes. So technically Powell was first in there in 2018, and came in after Janet Yellen.
Janet Yellen. See, that's not even a name that I recall hearing.
So she remained relevant because she actually, crazy enough, went from the Fed to the Treasury,
Got it.
which is wild to think about. Like that's like how
For
do
sh
you go straight from the Fed to the Treasury
Can you
essentially?
explain why that would be weird?
Well, it's just crazy. Like, just if you can think about the highest positions in the world of finance, it's the Fed chair and then the head of the Treasury. So it's like immediately you go from one to the other, and then
So she's
your
tapped
career
in.
ends there. But it's just like, yeah, so
Wow.
pretty crazy
Uh,
for
it
yeah,
it's kind of insane how a lot of these people are really old though, man.
yes,
Like, I think we need some new blood in this, and I guess Warsh is probably that's probably why, because he's pretty young, relatively speaking, towards these counterparts.
yes, he's pretty young. Kevin Warsh is 56.
Wow, so she's almost 80.
Right. Jerome Powell is 73. So young blood, you know what I
Young
mean? Young
buck.
blood in there. um, and with all of that, it just totally aligns. It's so interesting to think about the stratifications of like the ages, because like 50s, 40s, you're still like in your career, you
Mhm.
know?
Totally.
So you care about what's actually happening to some degree. Versus 70, 80, it's like, I'm checked out.
Yeah, by the time you're 70, like, I don't mean to be, like, ageist, but I feel like they should have to move on, man. Like, we need new ideas, we need to keep things fresh.
If you are consistently not listening to people and just what we saw with the SEC for the past decade and like being like that, then yes, like um, it's just so interesting how we've gotten to this point in the United States and probably in a lot of places as well, where it's like how representative of the people are the people that are representing the people.
Yeah, definitely not a lot. It's definitely an interesting thing. Like, I try to even avoid Canadian stuff altogether just because whenever I watch it, I just get frustrated. So I'm just like, "I'm tapping out, man. That's
Yeah,
good."
man. But yeah, so Kevin Warsh, 56, 100 million plus dollar net worth, and then he's got a nice amount of crypto holdings. So I'm just gonna go ahead and start to dive into some of that stuff, and then
Yeah,
we'll talk
please.
about some of his
'Cause that's what caught
thoughts.
my eyes the most when I actually looked into specific things he was holding. I'm like, "Okay, this is not like anybody like, so many people I'm sure hold Bitcoin either directly or indirectly, right? But now the stuff that he's holding, a little more degen.
Quite a bit more degen. So Perry 8888 underscore posted this full list here. He said Kevin Warsh owns 30 plus crypto projects and you're bearish. The next Fed chair's disclosure includes Solana, Optimism, Blast, Compound, DYDX, Polychain, Scalar Capital, Lightning Network, Lighter, and so on. And so the Fed chair is much more degen than you. So this is the full list, and we'll kind of walk through some of these and talk about it. Compound. Compound is one of the OG DeFi money markets. And a DeFi money market is essentially just a smart contract platform where
Mhm,
you can autonomously or through smart contracts lend assets on chain or borrow assets on chain. The first ever to do this technically was, I believe, MakerDAO. And
mm,
this was like early ETH days. And what they did was they created this stable coin that you could then basically put up your Ethereum as collateral to then borrow this stable coin. And then you can take this stable coin and do whatever you want with it. Once again, all of this being done through smart contracts. Now, MakerDAO ended up like basically, I believe, creating they got like exploited and that led to like a hard fork of Ethereum back in the day, if I'm not
mhm,
mistaken. But that was like the OG implementation of DeFi, period, really, like real decentralized finance on chain.
mhm.
So Compound came a lot later. I think it was probably like it became a big thing definitely in the DeFi summer of 2020 or whatever, 2020, 2021 era.
And how much did you participate in that?
I was just around it. So I wasn't like super deep in it. Like I wasn't like going crazy farming and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But I definitely was like watching it occur because I mean, I ended up working with the DeFi, one of
Yeah,
the
I
big
remember you saying that.
DeFi projects at the time.
So cool.
so, so I was like one of the guys that was working on that project. He's huge now, and it's actually super wild. We'll have to talk more about it, but um, one of the guys that was working on there, he was like this anon profile
Mm.
and was huge though. Like, and I just kind of figured it out. Some I don't even know how I figured it out. I was like, wait a minute, like this is him. And
How'd
he
you
was like, go
wait,
ahead.
how'd you figure it out? You
I
have no
don't really
idea?
remember. I really don't remember how I figured it out. Um, I don't even know. I think it's because he was just talking about his like what he would do in the markets and stuff, and it just like he would post screenshots on this anonymous profile, and it was just like,
Mm.
oh, like
So
that's
you could
him.
just tell.
Yeah. um, so he was like super deep in the chain link space, and
Mm.
then like doing all this crazy farming, and like people were making crazy money back then.
Dude, it was ridiculous.
I was
Like,
like,
people were
whoa.
becoming rich from, like, nothing really quickly.
It was wild, man. So that was yeah, DeFi summer 2020 was insane, and Compound was one of the major players at that time.
Got it.
Billions and billions of dollars of TVL, which is
Mhm.
total value locked, which is
Locked.
how much money these people have essentially deposited into these DeFi money markets.
Mhm.
So,
That's
yep,
really where a lot of people also, like, learned how to assess projects, and so, like, a lot of people started to become obsessed with things that don't actually matter in that much in my opinion in terms of the numbers on a lot of things. But also, one thing that I love that you brought up there was, um, how common it was for people to be, like, private or anonymous, right?
yes,
Like people who are new to crypto, they don't realize that almost everyone who was talking crypto back then, you didn't know who they were.
that's a big fact. Um, It's so wild, yeah, I mean, because now I mean, after FTX and Do
Yes.
Kwon and them, like, that's
Changed
like,
things.
"Alright, we ain't doing this no more."
Mhm.
Like, if you're not doxed, then we
We're not
don't,
touching it. Yeah.
yeah, we don't trust you.
But that was the thing, man. And NFTs, that was also huge too. Like one of the projects that I still hold, but Dead Fellas was what it was called, and their like primary founder, she became massive on Twitter, and even when she was in the Twitter commercial for NFTs, do you remember that?
No, who is it?
So Twitter had this big commercial for like the whole NFT space, where basically they had all the founders in from the biggest projects. It was like a they were like a, it was like a big commercial. Basically, you could make your PFP on Twitter. The actual like verified that it was your NFT that you actually held. Basically, they had an integration, and
Right, right.
so Betty was the founder of or one of the founders of Dead Fellas, and she was like this cult like figure there because she was like one of the only female founders in the space, and people still didn't know who she was.
Okay,
Just an
okay.
example of like she literally grew the project to tons of holders. They made I'm sure a ton of money at the time, and people didn't even know who she was.
Yeah, I wasn't in that corner of it all, man.
Mhm.
But, but yeah, so bunch of Anon founders, these types so one of the biggest things too that was a huge part of that culture was the audits.
Mhm.
Okay. So you've got massive amounts of TVL. He said, watches on C-SPAN. Yeah. So massive amounts of TVL. So billions of dollars that are locked up in these smart contracts where people are borrowing off of uh, these assets. Let me try to really break that down too. So essentially, you've got a bunch of smart contracts that are deposit smart contracts. You can deposit into a pool of liquidity. So I've got a bunch of ETH. I want to put it into this pool of assets so that I can then earn a yield off of that based upon me getting paid from when someone borrows that ETH out of this big pool of assets. When they borrow that ETH, they have to pay back that ETH with interest. So I'm earning, by the way, if I'm lending Ethereum, I'm earning Ethereum. Okay. And so it's a lot of risk for the borrower if the price of Ethereum goes up. And it can be very good if the price of Ethereum goes down. Because essentially I'm earning, I'm basically synthetically short Ethereum by borrowing it, and then I can pay it back at a lower price than it was before.
Totally. So the volatility can either make you win, like, massively or lose massively.
Massively. So from the lending side is great because I don't have to take as much risk. I'm just lending, you know what I'm saying? And I'm earning a yield off of that. So anyway, so these big pools of assets are sitting there, and like the larger the pool of assets, the more of an incentive there is to hack that smart contract.
Totally. Can Sorry, I just muted myself by accident. So a lot of people, like, we say smart contracts a lot, but
Okay.
could you try to explain, like, what a smart contract is to someone who doesn't fully grasp the concept?
Yeah, that's a good point. A smart contract is really just it's code.
Mhm.
And this code specifically exists natively on a blockchain. And so with that, because blockchains are like these open databases, these open networks that anyone can utilize, a smart contract is published publicly to the blockchain as a piece of code that pretty much anyone can use. So if the smart contract has the function of being able to allow someone to deposit assets into a pool, then anyone can essentially just use that smart contract to deposit their tokens into that pool.
Mhm.
So the other side of what a smart contract is it's code that also executes based upon conditions that are set within the system. So, for instance, you can imagine that there's a smart contract because this is where like the language of smart contract is super like, what does that really mean? Because
Mhm.
the smart contract isn't necessarily super smart, and we'll come back to that a little bit later. But like, you could have a conditional statement that says, okay, once someone deposits here, then the other person can now use those funds as an example. Or if someone deposits funds here, then now this person can get access to funds somewhere else. And that's just like automated into this line of code that's been published to the public. So hopefully, I mean, that was somewhat
No, it's good. Yeah,
helpful.
and then Cross Central had another way that I often try to describe it is
Good.
it's just an if this then that scenario on chain, and it's also is a big deal because if we've learned anything over the last like 6 years on the planet is that like just agreements don't mean shit for a lot of people, right? So like this kind of removes the ability of bad actors, unless obviously hacked or things go wrong, because it's self executing, meaning you can see it, so you can transparently see what the if this then that scenario actually is. So it will just follow. Oh, nice mug, let's go. We actually had a comment saying when are we getting the mugs, and we will be releasing them. We just haven't locked down a manufacturer that can give us really high quality. Those were okay, but I don't know if they're good enough to sell.
It's pretty solid, man.
It's not bad, but I don't want people to, like, wash it once and then it fade away.
Yeah, that's what we'll have to. Yeah, I'll have to really see
Yeah,
about
wash
that.
it a few times before we do that. But basically, it's important that you understand all of these things, guys, because then it makes more sense in terms of why this is a big deal. Because when you start understanding why this technology happens, right? And you look at all the problems that exist in terms of how we conduct ourselves in an economy, then it starts to become glaringly obvious why things like this just will happen. Do you know what I'm saying? And what like, why it was like a lot of it was obviously going to happen. But, sorry, go ahead, Keith.
Yeah, I mean, and so like, why does this matter? Because like, you could have a conditional statement in any other scenario, right? You can have condition. All of code really is like a bunch of if then statements, right?
Totally. Yes, and that's like most products, even think of the most complex product, it's just a series of those in most instances.
100%. And so the reason is because, well, first off, these are public money databases, right? So they're immutable ledgers where you can basically have immutable and permissionless things. So when you want to use a conditional statement of something that's happening on Twitter, well, Twitter can first off block you from being able to use it. They can deactivate your account. They can do all these different things. Um, and also, this is money natively moving on chain. So for me to be able to go to my bank, imagine, and without any permission, without any no blockers, no nothing, no KYC per se, and for me to be able to just do a transaction with someone on another part of the planet, by the way, for almost negligible fees,
Mhm.
is really, really powerful. So these smart contracts are enabling um, not like anything too crazy, but at the end of the day, it's replacing the systems that we have today where you're going to have to pay 10, 15% to send money from one place to another. And it might take a few days.
Mhm.
Like
Yeah,
we can do that instantly now.
great point. And a lot of the stuff that we do, even in the complex world of finance, is only complex because of the lack of ability to trust each other.
Yes.
Right? And so, because there's so many variables that come into trust and like what are people's incentives. So this kind of like Charles always says that like code is truth. And a lot of people who are coders, they say that too, right? And so it allows you to eliminate the need for trust. And that's why most of the banking industry across the world, like they make a lot of money because we all collectively trust them so that they conduct these activities for us and then take a fee for it because we don't have another choice. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah. 100%. So, So yeah, so all of that to say like you've got to be pretty deep into the game to be playing around with these DeFi protocols, and to have them being a part of your portfolio. Because it's really like an on or an off thing. Like either you believe that there's some opportunity here and that there's potential for it to go, or this is all a complete scam. And why would I ever put my money there? You know,
Mm,
um, so we've seen DeFi go from being literally nothing back in 2020, 2019. NFTs were probably even more important than DeFi at that time. And then DeFi summer 2020 hits, and you start to see tens of billions of dollars, if not over $100 billion, I believe, in TVL locked over
mhm,
that summer. You could have called that a big bubble. Obviously, a lot of those projects have crashed, but some of them, like Compound, have stuck around. And that was, kind of some of the origins of all of this space of, once again, it's not just also being able to transact cross borders, just being able to lend, right, to someone else, without having to know who they are, without having to trust them to any degree. It's just a
yes.
smart contract. It's just code.
Because that's also why that's also important is because sometimes Charles talks about this a lot, like selective disclosure is also a big deal too, right? So for the context of this is that like sometimes people will get you better or worse rates based on things they know about you or like how bad you need certain things too. So the programmability of about a lot of this can eliminate some of those things too.
Yeah, and I'm just thinking to myself of how this eventually evolves. And the way that I look at it is like a lot of this technology, banks have already, and the financial institutions have already started like tapping into DeFi. Aave has what's called Horizon, which is their like institutional level platform for DeFi.
Okay.
And so the way that I've always looked at it is like, okay, it's good that we know how to do this stuff and like know how to lend and know how to borrow on chain and whatnot. Because what's probably going to happen is banks are going to say, hey, just give us your crypto. Like, don't worry about it. I'll pay you yield, and they'll take our crypto and they'll deposit it on these DeFi chains, and then they'll pay a piece of the yield that they're earning from it, right?
Mhm.
Um, and then, and on the other side, if you want to borrow crypto, like, oh yeah, just borrow it from your bank, but it's like you're going to get a premium, right? You're going to be
Yes.
charging, you can charge a lot more than you could if you just knew how to do this stuff on chain. And so, but to see the benefits still come through to the individual of like the openness of the whole thing, what could happen is you have like a sort of unified liquidity pool, right? It's kind of how I look at, well, look, there's a few different products that could lead to this type of a future. Some people look at like the Ripple thing and the XRP
Mhm.
thing. It's like, oh, this could be like a global layer of just liquidity where anyone could come in and borrow anything. That's, I think, what they're trying to accomplish. But then there's also like a higher level technological level of like, how do you even make that happen? Instead of it just being something that's on a particular chain that you have a bunch of liquidity that exists, but actually rather from like the operation system level. Imagine that you could have like an overlay of what actually exists on these different systems. And if you have an operating system that allows you to communicate with the traditional banking system and with the crypto systems across different chains, then you could have one essentially unified operating system through which you can understand where liquidity actually exists and how to access it. And in that case, the one thing that's going to be, this comes up over and over again on the podcast. The one thing that's going to be the way to access that would be with DID, decentralized or digital identity. So that way, from the operating systems level, we literally saw a news piece about that last week. Um, from the operating system level, you could have your digital ID understood, authenticated by this overall system. And now, okay, cool. You've got open access to all these different types of liquidity pools that you can from, you can borrow from. Whatever provider that you use to do that is really just like a matter of semantics and branding. Like, who
Mhm.
do you like the most? Who do you know? Right? Oh, it's Chase Bank. Okay, cool. Chase Bank is going to plug you into all of the liquidity, different stuff that's out there, and they can get you loans from in whatever you'd like, or you can also lend in whatever you'd like. So, anyways, this is kind of how I see the potential for all of that to actually evolve.
Oh, definitely. I think it's all going to happen. I think it'll happen a lot faster than we realize because I think they've been stacking bricks in the background, just not all that publicly. Because there was so much also going on in the world that most people weren't paying attention with to what this stuff would mean, and they weren't reading stuff that you typically read. So obviously you're not going to see it, but it is. It's insane to think about even 6 years ago, how much more difficult it was to do any of these things that we're discussing, right? And it's come a very long way in only the 6-ish years times, and that was without clarity, and also AI coding wasn't a thing, right? Like, I do think these tools will become substantially easier to
Oh
use
man.
and far more widespread incredibly rapidly. So, buckle
Yeah.
up.
I haven't even thought about that in the crypto world. Like I feel like we haven't seen a whole lot of
It changes
it
everything.
reach there.
It changes everything because if people realize, "Okay, this is the future of finance," the new wave fintech company, they went under because they lost support. You needed way more people. You needed a lot more coordination. You needed a lot more money, a lot more time. You can now build a big fintech startup with like 4 people, right? So, like, I do think that that will change, the dynamic of this stuff so rapidly when people realize, "Okay, there's rules to the road here, and this is kind of a blue ocean." Like, a lot of people are very much overlooking this sector, uh, like, for a place to start businesses, right? Like, if you were to go to Silicon Valley and be like, "Oh, I'm starting a crypto company," they'd be like, "Get out of here, Joker." You know what I
Which is
mean?
hilarious.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. And in a lot of cases, Silicon Valley also got fleeced a little bit, right? Because a lot of people who probably didn't know what they were doing back in 2021 got absolutely wrecked.
for sure.
I mean, we saw everyone getting money, and I was just like, "There's no way that like this like NFT project is like raising money from like the big boys." Oh my
Yeah.
god, it's like, why are you doing that? Like, why would you give these guys money? And I think it was a function of zero interest rate policy, ZERP. You know what I mean? It's just like you gotta put that money somewhere. Is kind of what happened.
Mhm.
And there was a lot of money being raised. So it's like, yeah, I'm a venture capitalist. Well, I got to deploy this venture capital.
Yeah, well, they're inherently going to take risks, and then if they can take a risk that is long-term very risky, but they can extract some money back really quickly, then that also eliminates the risk, so it's like
And that was the other thing about that time period, right? Because like you got a lot of DeFi projects and a lot of tokens that were being launched. And that was my thing. I'm like, why are these VCs investing into these token projects? Like, if you want to invest in crypto, invest in infrastructure, invest in things that don't need that.
we can't extract that as fast.
But yeah, but that's what was happening is they were just like running up token sales and like getting out, what I'm saying, so fast. And it's kind of crazy to think about.
Wild.
Silicon Valley kind of hit a lick on crypto back in
Oh, dang.
2021.
100%. Yeah, 100%. So Cross Central, is that true? Hyperliquid only has 11 employees?
I believe it.
Dude, that's what I'm saying here, man, right? Like, how many great ideas in the consumer sector or just finance sector like, can be built when people realize what's possible with such few people.
Yeah, plus you have like the infrastructure of like you don't have to maintain some crazy database, right, to
Totally.
protect money. You know what I
11 to
mean?
15 core employees. Yeah, you're
It's
right, Cross
crazy.
Central. That's absolutely absurd. And all these things, right? As they're building infrastructure, so like let's say the whole midnight thing where now there's selective disclosure, even the things that you and I talk about all the time, Keith, in the background for the projects that we're building, like there's new technologies being built that can allow creative people to create experiences that were literally impossible before. And a lot of these products, like in the age of AI, when you can build anything, the technology that is only accessible to things that crypto can provide will actually allow the builders in this space to give people experiences you can't get anywhere else. Like Charles gives the example of Twitter, or sorry, not Twitter, Tinder, where he says like a selective disclosure Tinder, you could basically like confirm that you're not lying about your height and things of that nature, right? And
Hmm.
so I do think that there'll be some pretty wild experiences that pop up here pretty quickly.
No doubt. Um, you made me think of like the pump fund guys because they also like went crazy valuation wise or whatever. And like so it's a small team of fewer than 10 people generating hundreds of millions of dollars in revenue
Are they
um,
still?
at the time. I don't know about now,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah.
But so yeah, just like stuff like that is absolutely happening in this space. And the most interesting thing is it's like a lot of these are, I mean, all of what we're seeing right now is consumer plays. Like it's not with that, with crypto and consumer, like there's pretty much nothing that's stopping you. Like
Mhm,
if you have a good enough product, there's not some like big barrier that you have to cross over to make this stuff happen. There's no like banking license that you need to achieve. And so it's just like, bro, like you can spin up a startup, and if you can reach the people and you're doing something that's good, like you can
mhm.
literally just make pump
It's
that fun.
idea and distribution, right? Like, look at yeah, Pump Fund's a great example, Polymarket. right? Like, a lot of
Mhm,
people
mhm.
forget that that's a crypto thing. Like, I'm also shocked that the underlying asset of Poly Market is not, like, a bigger deal.
It's kind of the perfect application of crypto in that regard. The perfect like uh they've achieved it. They've like done the thing of like,
Yeah.
okay, this is a crypto project, but people don't even know that.
Yeah, and that's what you have to get to, where to get people who are very anti-crypto, there's a lot of people that will be having awesome experiences saying that they love an app that they don't realize is crypto.
Right.
That'll happen all the
100%.
time.
Yeah. So, anyways, Kevin Warsh, deep in the game, DYDX is the next big one that's on this list of his crypto portfolio. And this one is, I believe, a decentralized exchange. Okay. So uh, a decentralized derivatives DEX. So
Mm,
terms real quick, DEX, a decentralized exchange, SEX, CEX is a centralized exchange. And centralized exchange is just like Binance, Coinbase, these custodial places that run like a normal traditional exchange. And then decentralized exchanges are essentially a bunch of smart contracts that allow you to trade with other parties over the internet without there being any intermediary other than the code. And so there you go. He's got access to a decentralized derivatives DEX, which is another layer deeper because now what you've got is these synthetic instruments that you're able to trade on chain. The biggest one of those, as someone was talking about, I believe, is Hyperliquid. Right, it's kind of the big
mhm,
derivatives DEX out there. And so, um, decentralized derivatives also an interesting thing. Like derivatives today, they have a lot of regulation around them for the most part, and reasoning for that is because essentially you're trading something that doesn't exist. And so with that, you have to make sure that people are not getting manipulated to Valhalla. And so um, i- with the code being on chain, it becomes a little bit easier for you to at least you know what the mechanisms are around what you're trading around and against. But yeah, I mean, honestly, it probably is better to have a derivative exchange at least be open sourced in that regard because you can see what the mechanisms are in the back end
mhm.
and nothing's happening in private. Whereas, like, we see manipulation happening in the private derivatives markets all the time. And because there's a gatekeeper, no one gets to question, you know what I'm saying? Like, what's actually going on under the hood. So, anyways, that's
No,
the next piece he has there.
definitely.
And then the next piece that we see on here is Polychain, and this I believe is actually a VC firm. Yeah.
Mm.
So Polychain is one of the OG funds in the game, and we can see some of their holdings here. So Polychain Capital, this is actually the companies and then their jobs. Um, Polychain
1,100
Capital,
jobs?
yeah,
Whoa, that's big.
crazy man. I'm trying to remember who the founders, because I felt like it was somebody, but it's this guy named Olaf Carlson Wee, who I actually don't know very well. But he's, up there with what's the other big one? That's like the OG one with
You would know better than me.
Barry, Barry Crypto, found Barry Silbert. Um, Digital Currency Group is the other big one. But anyway, so here's some of the companies that they have in their portfolio. Anchorage is a massive one. They've also been basically doing a lot of the work to get like banking licenses and stuff like that. And they are one of the OG custodian, like institutional level custodians. Think about like BitGo and stuff like that. So
Got it.
Ava Labs,
With
Axelar.
Tensor,
Yep. Yep. So, these guys are, one of the
touching
biggest in the
everything,
game.
yeah.
So anyway, so yeah, so that's the third thing that's on that list. Another one is Scalar Capital, so just another VC fund, basically. So he has a lot of his exposure to these projects through that, right? Which makes a lot of sense. You got $100 million, you're not going to deploy in 100 different projects. You're just going to
Mhm.
get access to a fund. Let them do that. Blast and Ethereum L2. Um, you've got Brave. They've called this crypto adjacent, which is kind of weird. I guess maybe if you only invested in the company Brave, then maybe so, and not the actual tokens themselves. Uh, Brave is one of my OGs favorite projects.
Do you use their browser?
I actually don't.
Crazy, buddy.
It's really sad that I don't. Do you use it?
No. But I've heard great things.
I remember my boy, he's been using it and like, I mean, it's a real product. I actually got to meet Brendan Ike once. I got to shake his hand in Lisbon.
Mm.
And he's not only the founder of Brave, but he's the founder of he was the creator of JavaScript, right? And so that was another thing that made me just like really perk my ears up on this project. Like the guy who created the
That's
language JavaScript created
that's
this.
crazy.
Yeah. So,
What a
anyways,
beast.
um, Dapper Labs. You might know about them a little bit. What would you say about Dapper Labs?
So I've never heard of Dapper Labs.
Really, man?
Yeah.
Ooh, we got the NFT guy here doesn't know about Dapper Labs, guy. Oh my goodness!
Well, what did they
Somebody
do?
roast him.
Oh,
Somebody
okay, they
roast
did
this
Top
guy.
Shot.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, yeah,
Um,
yeah. I think NFTs will, yeah, become a increasingly bigger thing. I was thinking about this as you were speaking, as I was seeing all the NFT logos and whatnot. It's crazy that people like think digital ownership won't be a thing when I'm sure if you talk to those same people about, oh yeah, by in the future, like you won't own any of your songs or like you'll own your songs digitally. They'd be like, no way, I only want records. You know what I'm saying? Like these things do change, and I think that people love what they love, and if you give them access to it in different ways, and it allows them to connect with people, that's why they ultimately have it. And I think NFTs allow you to do that in a different way. But Top Shot was Top Shot was really what brought people to NFTs in large ways because for what it was basically Top Shot was a project by the NBA, and you could basically buy these cards that I believe were moments from games, and you owned that moment. And so a lot of people are like, "Oh, this is gonna be such a big deal." I don't think it is anymore, but
yeah.
it got a lot of people very excited. It started a lot of the mania.
Yes, yes. When you got a big name like that involved, it just created a lot of legitimacy.
I'm
So
shocked that Pokemon has not gotten involved in NFTs.
true,
They probably have
true.
done something small, and they really are very, very protective with their IP. But that would crush it.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah. It's interesting. Yeah, because when I looked at the Dapper Lab or the NBA Top Shot thing, I was like, this is. I personally thought this was kind of dumb. I was like, why would I want to buy a moment
it was
that
gimmicky for
can be
sure.
replayed? Like I could just replay that joint. You know what I mean? Like, but if there was something to it to where it was like I was there for it, I
Mm,
think that could be a little bit different,
yeah.
maybe.
I also think that a lot of people get very creative, but I don't think potential has been unlocked yet. Yeah, I would agree with that. That's almost the exact point that I was gonna make, Brandon, was that I think a lot of people with fresh ideas and creativity and more touches on different points of technology and how people interact with that will be able to make better experiences because the digital ownership thing is a big deal, right? And if you build in the systems and infrastructure to basically be able to reward specific people that have held things at different times and you can communicate people in different ways, you can get very, very creative in terms of rewarding fandom and support. So, yeah, I think NFTs will come back and it'll be the most hated rally of all time, and I will be here laughing.
Facts, man. I mean, yeah, I'm excited for like the actual use cases of it all. I think there was I think Gary Vee did something cool where it was like the restaurant thing where you could pull up to the restaurant. Was that
He
him?
I'm not sure. I think he did something like that, but he also did where if you minted his original VFriends project, you were good for 3 tickets to his VCon.
Okay,
So that's one thing that's a little unfair when he gets shit on for being a scammer for that stuff, is that if you were gonna go to the conferences anyways, the thing paid for itself.
right. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So which is like, you know what I'm saying? It does change the dynamic a little bit if you were gonna go to VCon. I've never been, but, yeah, it's definitely I think people get a lot more creative. I also think that we talk about monopolies on the show a lot, like Ticketmaster. If someone can come in and improve that experience, I think people would be all over it.
For sure, for sure. Um, but yeah, I was watching David Senra's yeah, I didn't see that project with the Pokemon.
I bet I was trying to say what up to that. Yeah, I didn't see that project either.
Um, so I was listening to David Senra. He does this podcast called Founders, and now he has this David Senra podcast where he talks to founders.
It's good stuff.
It's so good. And he did this episode with Jimmy Iovine, and he's the guy who he was a huge engineer back in the day. I think Interscope Records as well, executive over there, and also created Beats. And so it was a really interesting conversation. He didn't necessarily talk about NFTs at all, but like you
Mm,
could tell that like he was low key like
Like,
referring to that kind of stuff where you
oh,
can like get closer to your relationship with the artist and stuff. And I think that that's probably what they're doing in the background.
any tool that allows for more strategic aligned incentives for the people that are involved is just going to lead to better outcomes. Like, it's not that complicated of a concept. It's just how do you create the feeling and the experience around it to make that easy. And I think more and more people do that. I also think that for the AI story too, is that any tool that you can do to, in a world where there's unlimited content that all feels the same, people need a rallying cry or something to get behind to really push something forward and make it part of their identity when there's unlimited choice.
Mm,
And I think NFTs will play a big part in that, right?
mm,
Because if you can get 1,000 people to give a game a go, which is also what I said before, is that there's going to be this like renaissance of video games that are going to be out there, but there's going to be so many options. Getting users is going to be so hard unless you're really good at content or you have people who are like motivated for some reason to take part in your game. All these legacy NFT projects, if they're still around and they have any bit of money or skill, they have a cheat code of having thousands of people that will try anything they do. That's a
mhm,
mass in the age of the internet. That's a big deal because a lot of people
mm.
are not good at content, and getting people to play a new game is not exactly the easiest thing to do.
That's fair. Super fair. Um, by the way, did you ever listen to Chief Keef back in the day?
Of course, bro.
I was thinking of, I was like, man, because I that's where I first heard that name, Jimmy Iovine.
Yeah, I heard him from Macklemore. Have you ever heard
Okay.
Macklemore?
Okay. Of course. Of course. So yeah, I was playing that in the car the other day. He had a song called Kobe. Said, "I'll be balling so damn hard, I swear. I think that I'm Kobe." And he's like, "Since that song with Jimmy Iovine, I swear I think that I'm Kobe." And I was like, "Dang, that's crazy." I admire the heck out of those people that are just in the background, like making stuff happen like that.
Mm,
And yeah, like getting and it's just such an interesting thing to think that your artist is shouting you out. You know what I'm saying in this song, and you're just like the one like helping them maneuver through that industry. But we'll have conversations about stuff like that later on.
no doubt, man. 100% that'll be a big recurring thing here. But yeah, I've seen some chat about Pudgy. Pudgy Penguins is clueless right now. Give it time, give it time. Pudgy to the moon. I'm seeing a massive on the NFT story is that gotta go show some love that the apes have become back in the topic of conversation again.
Really,
Yeah, man.
dude, I'm not even seeing that.
Yeah, there's a lot of people talking about it. How much of it's organic? Who knows? But that's also I said this to someone on a personal conversation where he's like, how do you assess your investment thesis for projects? And I said one thing that you can't overlook is like how many people kind of need something to be expensive again, right? Like how many people bet on this? Because in a world where we're saying price can be manufactured either through perception or financial maneuvering, how many people need it to be expensive and have the resources for if the narrative catches up, they just make the price go there? Like a lot of my holdings, I have a loose idea of how much the war chest is for these people, and they can
Mhm.
take it to where I think the prices can go. Well, is it worth that? I don't even think so as someone who's holding it, but I'm confident they'll make it go there.
Mm,
Do you know what I'm saying?
fair. And it just takes some extra perception from the rest of people, the public, to for it to really work out.
Well, let's say this, right? When traditional companies that were seen as incredibly safe are getting taken down or disrupted quite a bit by people who are using AI tools more effectively than them, and the whole dynamic of what safe looks like, people will be looking for exposure in different places. In these limited things where there's only 10,000 of them, like the difference between an NFT project and say like in a whole, like a token is that there's so many, like you need to hold, there's so many tokens to hold, right? We're talking like millions and millions, right? Where for these projects, there's only 10,000 pieces in many cases, right? Like you don't need that many people
Mhm, mhm.
to be involved and be like, okay, this is where I'm
That's true.
storing wealth to maintain a floor price. I
That's
still
true.
think we need to do a show on NFTs. Their time is coming. I'm happy to do that, but like, I don't know if there's the market for it right now. But when it does become more relevant, I think what will kick it off is either a massive IP using them well,
Yeah.
or some sort of new experience that either allows the perception to change on what it is, right? Maybe
Right.
someone figures out the wording. They're trying out digital collectible. I don't know if that hits the way it needs to,
Mm-mm.
right? Because the branding of things really does matter because the brand evokes an emotion, and then that dictates how people see what's on their screen, right? Because the anchoring that you come to it, like this book right here, persuasion, right? So NFT is the NFT brand is fighting so much negative stigma every time it's used, right?
True.
So someone's also got to figure out the communication piece.
Very good point. Warren Buffett's strategy, it was casual in nature. No, it was causal in nature.
He bet on the companies most likely to survive, and he was right. That's my almost entire thesis with this whole NFT thing is like, who needs this to work? And there are some people, if you do a tiny bit of research, they really need this to work. And so they're going to do everything in their power to make that happen.
Very interesting. Very interesting day. So, so Kevin Warsh is even exposed to the NFT narrative.
Mhm.
One of the bigger infrastructure players in that space, being Dapper Labs, and the relationships that they have. There's another exchange in here called Lighter Exchange, another DEX, and then he's got some sort of exposure to the Lightning Network, which is about Bitcoin layer two payments.
We've talked about that a little bit.
Yes, yes. Also, just relevant in terms of like, if we want to talk about Bitcoin, a lot of people are like, Bitcoin's not scalable, it's too slow, it's clunky. And well, a lot of the debate always comes down to, oh, well, if you really just need to send money fast and cheaply, then just use the Lightning Network. Have you ever used the Lightning Network? I'm like, all right, fine,
I've
fine.
never used it. Have you?
I have not. I was supposed to.
For what?
Easter thing here. I don't know if it's the right way to put it. I did a debate with someone last year before I was like doing anything on YouTube,
Sweet.
and I posted it on this random YouTube channel out there in the world.
Can we find it? Is it still up?
It's findable.
Oh, yeah. I'm going to find that.
And it was just honestly, it was a freaking dope conversation that I had with a Bitcoin maximalist. And we were going back and forth on Twitter about something. I don't even know. He was like talking trash about Ripple. Oh, I know when it was. It was when Jack Mallers came out. It was like, Ripple is
Yeah, yeah.
undermining the
The U.S. was it
the
Constitution or what did you say?
whatever, yeah, something like that. And I was like, I was battling back and forth with this guy, and then I was like, dude, like, how about this? Like, hop on a space, let's talk. And so we chat for like an hour and a half. And like
Mhm.
what it came down to, as I say over and over again, it's like this philosophical thing of like, bruh, is the banking system going to let this happen, or are they going to do everything in their power to come up and prop up another solution?
Mhm.
And he was like the perfect representation of a Bitcoin maximalist, because his whole thing was like, and let me say it, the modern Bitcoin maximalist, who actually, to be fair, like is not Jeff Booth, who like doesn't actually think super deeply about these things. But the dude was like, this is a revolution against the system. Like, this is our only way. And think
But
about Satoshi and how he did this for humanity. And
but
I
even
was just
that
like,
point is
oh
kind of
man,
fighting your point, though,
what do you
right?
mean?
Because you're saying that, like, they would scratch and claw to do whatever they could to hold on to that. So even if he's right, you're right.
Right. Right. And he eventually kind of understood like what I was saying, because he was just like, I just don't get Ripple. Like, I don't get what you guys are doing. Like, because people keep looking at it. The thing that I think people don't understand about Ripple is like, it's not purely a technological solution. It is a political solution. And that is why it doesn't register all the time. Because if you just look at like, oh, the distribution of the token is not even, like,
It's not
it's
relevant.
unfair. It's like, yeah, that's not the point.
Can you elaborate what you mean by all that?
Yes. Okay. So if Bitcoin is incredible because it's this decentralized thing and no one can stop it, and it's permissionless money, well, that becomes less relevant if my goal is not decentralization. What if my goal is efficiency? Right? So then that becomes totally irrelevant. I don't care
Mhm.
how many miners you have, how high of a hash rate you have. None of that matters if my goal is cheaper, faster payments.
Yes.
And so, anyway, so that's where the Ripple thing kind of comes into the equation. It's like, well, can I have a system that allows me to create faster, cheaper payments where I don't have to give up control in any way?
Totally.
And I think that's kind of what Ripple is.
No, I think that's well said, and I think that it's worth repeating a lot of these things that we assume people have already, like, thought about or know because, like, we forget because we've been here a decent amount of time,
Mhm.
but that's awesome, so always feel free to tell us those stories, and I definitely wanna find that conversation. Was that on Twitter or was that on YouTube?
It's on YouTube. I
Okay.
recorded it. And at the end, I was like, yo, dude, like, listen, like, let me put this on YouTube. He was like, oh, I don't know, man. Like, I was like, come on.
That's awesome.
And he was like, yeah. So
Super
it's
good.
out there in the world. It was a lot of fun. I was gonna post it on my channel, but I was like, oh no, this is gonna create so much division.
Could be good though. But what a sale says, my buddy is deep in NFTs and it's dead currently, and he has over 10K NFTs.
Oh
So
my
yeah,
goodness.
so a lot of people are gonna get burned by thinking that. So NFTs is not gonna be something like, oh, just hold something and you like having some exposure will make you a winner. In the NFT game, like any IP game, there's gonna be massive winners and then massive losers and nothing in between.
Hmm.
Because think about how many people start cartoons. What are the few that come to mind for most people, right? There's not that many. But those that do and that win that battle, they're worth so much. And so they'll also get people who get creative and build more niche communities, but I still like it'll either be successful or it won't. There won't really be that in between layer that much. Plug the video. Yeah, they want to see it, man.
I'm like, let me see if I can.
How long is it?
It's probably like an hour long. It's an hour and 7 minutes. So look, you guys are here. This will be some memes and markets lore, guys.
Let's
So
go.
last year, I started this little channel, and I was just like, I called it the Ledger Report.
That's tight. That kind of goes hard, man.
And I was like, let me like just keep up with like stats that are going on chain and like debunk a lot of the like misinformation that was happening. Because it started with like, how the Ripple community is, dude. They'll take something and they'll run with it.
Oh, will they ever?
And so there was some guy who like did like a message in the escrow, and he was like, something crazy that he said in the escrow. He said January 20th is around the corner. Donald Trump will be in the White House, and we're going to make crypto great again. And people were like freaking out, like, oh my God, like the escrow release was signed with the transaction. And like the reason this matters is because Ripple has an escrow. Some of it comes out every month and then it comes back in whatever they don't like do something with.
Mhm.
And so like it's kind of done by Ripple, but it wasn't in particular. Like technically someone else can sign the message of the escrow coming out of the escrow. And so that's what happened here. And I was like, all right, guys, like everyone calm down. Like, this is not what you think it is. And so, anyway, so on this page, there's this full on debate that I do with this guy. And it's a lot of fun, honestly. It was really cool because dude also gives an incredible history lesson on monetary economics and monetary history. So it's
He
just a
did?
good conversation. Yeah.
Tight,
Yeah.
man. Okay, so all I'm gonna find. Do you care if I put that in the description?
You can put it in the description. Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. Well, then, if you all are watching the replay after the fact, or even now, if you refresh the page in like 30 seconds, I'll have it there.
Yeah. Yeah. Cross Central for you, bro. Definitely. Definitely. Most definitely, man. I'll plug it for you. But yeah, so anyways, just all of that to come back to, that was when I was gonna use the Lightning Network. Because dude was like, all right, how about this? Like
Got it.
you
Got it.
use
Got it.
the
Got it.
Lightning Network and I'll use XRP. I was like, all right, cool, let's
Mm,
do it. I never
that's
did,
good stuff.
but it was really
Never
cool.
did.
But he
Uh,
was cool, man. He's a good sport, and shout out to that guy.
Man, I love that stuff. Honestly, it's so fun. Yeah, actually, it was saw some of my buddies from high school this weekend because it was our former producer Kurt's birthday. So
Yeah.
so I was there to celebrate with him, and we disagree on most things, to be honest. Like literally almost everything. But it's a lot of fun because he's like I think we should bring back debate, man.
Yes.
Like, and it's okay to lose. Like, he got me on one thing, and I'm like, "Shit, he got me." But I just said, I was like, "Kurt's good. He's a smart guy. Like, he got me." I'm like, "Okay, there you go." Right? But that's we've created this dunk on you culture, and also I see it in the youth where they're so worried about being cringe, where they're so afraid to take risks and try. That's one of my favorite messages that Jiang is really pushing out there is that it takes courage to have an opinion. Like we get roasted all the time having like a show like this,
Mhm.
right? Like constant. Most of the comments that you receive are not most, but like a good chunk of them are going to be negative because negative people are more inclined to leave a comment oftentimes. So we definitely appreciate all the positive ones as well. But it's
Yes.
just that's the nature, right? Everything that you do that you're subjecting yourself to more opinions, you're also subjecting yourself to more degrees of ignorance, right?
Mhm.
And so everyone feels entitled to their opinion, which they absolutely are, but they also feel entitled to sharing it even when it's ignorant. And so yeah, it's definitely a thing that like you just had to accept, but it's don't don't let the cost, the temporary social cost of fear of looking stupid stop you from the exploration of your opinions and beliefs because that's really where growth comes from. There's very little of that now. Everything's black and white and most things are gray.
Yeah, man. I'm trying to remember where I just heard this very recently. It might have been on David Sinder's podcast around this idea of like people who just like aren't afraid to just like ask questions and also like be looking dumb and like ask when it's
Mhm.
obvious to everyone else. Like that's kind of how you can totally level up massively
Totally.
quickly.
Because most people are too afraid, and so if you just simply do that, then, yeah, you may look stupid temporarily, but the smartest person in the world was dumb the most times,
Mm,
right? Like, that's literally how I saw it, that's why I was asked so many kids questions as a kid, because I realized that the gap between, like, desire for understanding is just asking the question and getting it if you can, go to the source. But, what I was gonna say, studio, this is Riley, this is our designer, he's a legend, he'll be helping us with the website, so what up, Riley? Hope you're well.
what up, Riley? What's good? Heck
No
yeah.
de no debate leads to violence. I think you mean, like, not having debate leads to violence.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
I totally agree. Yeah,
Exactly.
that's also it seems like I always say "they," but, like, it seems like that's what they want, right? Because that's a lot easier to control.
For sure.
Discourse is a lot harder to control because so many times when I hear these politicians speak, and I won't say any names, I'm like, "Man, why can't someone who's at their level, like, challenge them on any of this stuff?" Right? Like,
Mm,
everything is this softball question where and then if you do anything that they don't like, they call you names or they
right.
restrict your access. It's freaking
Yeah.
ridiculous, man.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Debate is totally gone. And I think about it in the US. Like we used to, I mean, I'm sure they still do these debates when the presidential elections are happening, but it just changed completely ever since 2016, bro. Like, it was never. I mean, honestly, those were probably never really debates. Maybe back in the day at some point, but it's just a dunk. It's like a dunk session. It's like, bro, like, come
It's all that
on.
it is. It's all because it's good content,
Yeah.
right? But I d I do think that this issue is largely a systemic one from the tools that we've been using and the incentive structures internal, like, of them, right? Like, if we all if you went to because what we see in our everyday life is conducted by how our behavior gets shaped, and that's from the tools that we have on our screen, right? And so if they're differently designed, I think that people would change so unbelievably dramatically.
Yeah, man. It's tough too because I'm like basically politicians are
That's
like the
fair.
OG like content creators.
They're
Like
they're
that's
they're
what they did.
actors, man.
Yeah, yeah.
It's a really good point. They don't challenge because they want to be an insider and make money. Instead, yeah, no, that's a very fair perspective.
It's so
Certainly
wild,
seems
man.
that way.
It's so wild. It's literally just like being an influencer.
This is a good one too. Yeah, this is inevitable part of the debate. Every time I debate, my best arguments arise 15 minutes after the debate. But but that's also a prime example of the growth that takes place, right?
Exactly.
And typically the emotion, like your ability to comprehend information as a human beings can only be done by, like, your ability to match the emotion to the significance of the content that you're experiencing, right? And so, why debate can be so unbelievably believably impactful is because naturally emotions will rise,
Mhm, mhm.
and so you're going to be able to tap into things you didn't even know that you had, and then later, because you're at an emotional state where it's a peak thing, you'll realize exactly what "How are you now" is saying, that 15 minutes later, you're like, "Oh, I could have had this," but now you have it for next time,
Yep.
right? I learned that really young where the emotional state that you come to information with will dictate your ability to comprehend it. That's why so many people are like, "Oh, I'm bad at this thing," right? Okay, now you're carrying that very negative emotional state towards the information. Of course, you're not going to comprehend it.
Mhm.
Whereas if you really need to learn something, and I see this all the time where somebody can be brand new to something, and if they really feel it's important and they really feel they need it, they learn anything, everything, man.
Yeah, I remember math being one of those things for me. It should have been something that built my confidence a lot, but it actually wasn't because it was always like that for me. It was always like, I don't get this. And then
Okay,
having to like go through and
you weren't
get
good at
it.
math.
No.
That's shocking to me.
Yeah, no, I'm not a I'm very left-handed, like I'm not
You're very is that artistic? You're saying?
yeah, yeah, like I'm not any of that at all. So but like math is one of those things where that absolutely happens where it's like you look at something and you're like there's no way that I'm going to know how to do this.
Yeah.
And then you figure it out.
Yeah, math always came pretty easy to me, but, I saw that like, a lot of people, as soon as they had a bad relationship or they self-identified as someone who is bad at math,
Mhm,
how much harder the comprehension became
mhm.
was just wild.
Yeah, I think that was me. And yeah, if someone I watched like the Math Sorcerer, I think is what his name is on YouTube.
Sounds like
He's
a
like
badass name.
massive. Yeah, he's dope. He's super cool. And like if I had just had him as my teacher or just like watched his content, it probably would have changed my
That
entire
shit matters a
relationship with
lot. That
math.
shit matters a lot. Like, so case in point here too, or Timster said people a lot of the time can't have a healthy debate. It's because there's not many examples of it on the internet, right? It's mostly dunk on you because that gets better clips. And that's also teasing something we'll talk about later in the future and how media is changing, right? Where that's all people are prioritizing, and that's no longer just in streamer culture or like youngins. It's now proliferated to like everything. We're like the elite of the elite people are now clip farming, which is crazy.
Yep. Yep. Super wild, man. Fox, one of those times, I forgot exactly what happened, but they just put up that title that was like so deceiving. We talked about it on the shows a few months ago, and I was
Was
just
it
like,
the
"Gotta."
Trump admitted he was wrong or whatever? Was that one?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. These people are full of shit.
um, but yeah, so moving on, I think we were talking about Bitcoin L2
Yes.
in
Lightning.
debates because it's so important, bro. Like I would like to continue to have those conversations about the L2 thing because it's like it is still L2. You know what I'm saying? And that was the conversation that I had at the time. Like, bro, you talking about L2? I'm talking about L1. What
I
are we
want to
talking
have a lot more people on that world because they say in theory, even Booth, right? When we asked him, we're like, okay, so this stuff can actually support all these things you're saying, and he's like, yeah,
about?
yeah, 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 yeah. But I'm like, show me. Do you know what I'm saying?
For sure, for sure. So the next thing that he had was Structure, which is a blockchain retail trading project. I'm not sure exactly what that's about. Canvas XYZ, decentralized compute. Okay, so that's an interesting concept as well. Once again, this guy's deep into this. Coworker AI, I'm not sure what it is. Web3 commerce infrastructure, Creator DAO, Creator token investment platform. Trying to think if I've heard of them because I might have heard of them before. Creator DAO. Um,
Creator DAO, I've heard of.
yeah, because people were kind of shilling this to me a little bit. Yeah, I've seen them before. Um, yeah, I see like even stuff like that. Like some people were saying, like, bro, this guy's got a trash portfolio, is what some people were saying.
That's awesome.
um, Crossmint, NFT developer tools, DSO, social blockchain, ULITH, institutional crypto trading, friends with benefits. Haven't heard of that one. Web3 community social token. I'm surprised he doesn't have pudgy penguins in here, man, honestly.
So they yeah, that was actually a big thing where Luca tried to get funding from a lot of these people, and they funded projects that I was kind of shocked by the decisions in which some of these people funded different things, and so he took that personal, kind of, like Michael
Mm,
Jordan. He's like, I
mm.
took that, and I took that personal. But I think that Pudgy will become wildly, wildly relevant. Like, I don't think you got to put some respect on all of the projects' names that are still relevant. Like Ape, I think will be relevant for a long time. I think a lot of the people will. I think the GTA story will be connected there. But Pudgy, the fact that they're cute gives them such an advantage. Like, why does Pikachu cross everything, right? You know what Pikachu is, right, Keith?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, cool. Just had to make sure. But like, I can go to my grandpa and he knows who Pikachu is, right? Why is that? Because everyone can have some sort of relationship with him. If Pudgy Penguin becomes the mascot for crypto, which becomes the mascot for money, that's such a big, big deal, man. And they're doing that with these cards that they have now, where that's become a bit of a flex having one of those, right? So yeah, I'm a big believer in Pudgy. Um, I'm very biased. I hold some. So, just to make that completely clear, and this is never financial advice, but I believe in the builder behind it as well.
I've got a random question for everybody. Has anyone here heard of David Grutman?
David
David
Grudman?
Grutman. Yeah,
Grutman.
Grutman. Let me know in the chat, guys, if you've ever heard of David Grutman. And it just came to my head because he just released a book, I think like this past month or so. So free promo to my man David Grutman. It's called Take It Personally.
Mm.
Subtitle is How to Succeed by Building Relationships and Playing the Long Game. And so David Grutman, uh, such an interesting character, but he's like this mythical figure in Miami.
So do you know him personally?
No, I've never met him.
Mm.
But that was the thing, is like he's also always been behind the scenes, but now he's released his books and now he's going on like a podcast tour and all that. And yeah, I'm just super curious if you guys know who he is. He's like big in the nightlife scene, one of the most respected like hospitality people ever. But like, yeah, I'm just curious like what reach his name has, because in Miami, like everyone knows his name,
Got it.
but like only in Miami, I imagine. You know what I mean?
If he's doing a book tour, he'd probably come on the show.
True, true. Yeah, dude, that'd be sick. I'll definitely reach out to him, see if we
That's
can get him.
that's a cheat code, guys. If you're ever running a podcast, if you can get anybody on their book tour, they say yes to everything.
Yeah, yeah, true, 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 fair. Wesley in the chat said, he's the truth. Gotta meet
Wesley
him for
from Miami
summer.
too?
He lives in Miami. Yeah, he goes to
Cool,
DU.
cool.
So yeah, it's kind of funny because it's just like that. Like it's such a weird thing. Like there's not much like that that I've ever experienced, where there's just this guy that everyone knows of, but like is
Yeah,
not famous in any way, and like has a hand in all of your
so
kind of
many things.
experiences in a
Well,
way.
that and those are very difficult industries.
Oh yeah, no, no doubt. He's straight up restaurants and nightclubs, and he's just like some of the top experiences in the world.
Yes,
Um, yeah,
that's wild. Timster, yeah, so the hype button, apparently now people are seeing it on our channel, so if you ever wanna hype our videos, it helps us out tremendously because that's basically like putting your stamp of approval behind a video to hype it. So if you guys ever get the opportunity, you only get so many of them per week or per day, whatever it is. So we would be honored to have you hype our stuff whenever you feel inclined to do so. Yeah, it's
Hype it
a
up.
because there used to be the trending thing on YouTube where you could go see the trending tab, and I don't know if that's have they released a hyped tab?
oh, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen it yet. I
But sorry,
haven't.
go ahead.
Well, yeah, I was just gonna get back on topic.
Yeah, my bad, dog.
um, so, so yeah, so these are most of the projects here. I won't go through every single one, but let's see. You've got like DeFi data infrastructure, crypto portfolio automation, DeFi portfolio management, pseudonymous social called Warp. I've never heard of that one. That looks kind of interesting. Lightning Bitcoin trading, digital asset exchange, another L2 blockchain, a Latin American crypto neobank, and Ethereum L2 Optimism. Optimism, you guys should know Optimism. Solana and Polymarket as well is something that he's invested in. Oh, and let me go ahead and say right now, somebody made a snarky comment on one of my videos saying, as soon as this guy said Polymarket is a crypto project, I stopped listening to him because it's not a crypto project. And I'm like, brother, like, it's not a crypto token, correct? Like, come on, bro. But like, that's the thing. Like, I'm trying to talk to people who aren't in crypto, okay, and I'm trying to help them know that
Mhm.
Polymarket actually is crypto infrastructure based, and this guy's like, it's not a crypto project. I'm like, bro, come on, man, come
Bro, when I
on.
see people that are like that, I'm always like, "Does this lad have friends?" You know what I mean? Like, well, I'm like, I wanna be around their conversations when, like do they just do that in real life? Do you know what I mean? Everything you say, like, "Well, technically, actually."
Yeah, man. But yeah, so I can also talk a little bit about some of the actual statements that our guy has made, because Kevin Warsh, the incoming Fed chair, has made some very public statements about crypto, and I think that they're very fun to
Yeah.
listen to.
Oh, without a doubt. Some of the most interesting stuff.
Yeah, man. So let's pull that up real quick. Here's Kevin Warsh, the incoming Fed chair, talking about Bitcoin with a popular journalist.
Charlie Munger attacked Bitcoin. He called it evil. You made reference to Bitcoin, and I thought I heard a little bit of condescension that people are buying Bitcoin and these things. But doesn't it? Charlie Munger, this is 2 or 3 years before he died, Charlie Munger attacked Bitcoin. He called it evil, in part because it would begin to undermine the Fed's ability to manage the economy. Or it could provide market discipline, or it could tell the world that things need to be fixed. Bitcoin does not make you nervous. Bitcoin does not make me nervous. I can hearken back to a dinner I had here in 2011 with someone who is another guest on your show. I won't say his name. Okay, I just did Mark Andreessen, who showed me the white paper. That was the original white paper. I wish I had understood as clearly as he did how transformative Bitcoin and this new technology would be. Bitcoin doesn't trouble me. I think of it as an important asset that can help inform policymakers when they're doing things right and wrong. It is not a substitute to the dollar. I think it can often be a very good policeman for policy. And if I were to speak more broadly to what did Charlie Munger and others perhaps have in mind, there is a proliferation of securities that go under all sorts of names. Many, if not most of them, are not worth what they might be being traded for. So what did Charlie say, and maybe his pal Warren say? There's the innovators, the imitators, and the incompetents. They're real innovators that are happening in and around that new technology. And what I would try to impart towards businesses and bankers is that the underlying technology that Mark showed me in that white paper, or tried to show me in that white paper, it's just software. It's just the newest, coolest software that will provide us an ability to do things that we could never have done before. Can the software be used for good and evil? Yes, both, like all software. So I don't cast aspersions like that. If there's a final point, it's these technologies are being built here. I don't just mean on Stanford campus. I believe in the United States. And the world's most talented engineers from China and Europe and everywhere, they come to the United States even now to try to build this stuff. And my view is by building it here, that gives us an opportunity to be more productive and create something very special over the next decade.
That is your incoming Fed chair.
Bullish.
Super hyper bullish. Like his ability to articulate that idea that Bitcoin can kind of serve as a barometer of like, are things going well or not? Is kind of an interesting take.
Mm-hmm.
And technically, like, it's kind of a bearish statement. Like, although it says that Bitcoin works, it's also saying that like he thinks that it means that things aren't working if it's working, if it's doing well.
Yeah, it also pretty tightly connects to Jeff Booth's statement where he's like Bitcoin would basically price the, how did he exactly phrase it? Where price the natural deflation in the market, basically.
Yes.
How did he phrase it?
Something like that. Where you look at that?
Just saying what up to Abs.
Yeah,
Good evening.
up,
Good evening, Crypto.
Abs?
Appreciate having you here. He said, all is great. Will either of you be at Bitcoin or XRP Las Vegas next week? I will not be. Are you going, Keith?
I didn't get the invite. I need look
That's
at this point, guys.
crazy.
I'm expecting like a little bit of acceptance into the community. You know what I mean? I've been watching from the sideline for a while, but like
Yeah.
right now, I'm like, I think I'm kind of part of the crew, but I didn't get the invite, man.
I think you'll jump into it at some point, and I'll be happy to see it. You'll be speaking at those conferences. You'll be doing the whole thing. Because also, I do think that, and I'm sure Abs will play a big part in this, but crypto needs more media faces, right? Like people to carry the torch, people to have these conversations. And I think that Abs is one of the best people doing this, because crypto becomes mainstream when the characters can come and tell their story and the interviewers can actually ask the questions to pull it out. And you can hang out with that person for an hour or two, right?
Right.
Like you may hate me, but you may love Abs, right? And so we need enough of those voices where you can actually have those conversations. And I think that's only a matter of time before that really happens. And I'm sure Good Evening Crypto will be a massive part of that.
Word. Ab said, always happy to be here. Man, pull up. We always appreciate you. Free ticket giveaway tonight. Cool. That's super sick. Connected with Brad, who runs XRPLV. Word, man. I mean, listen, man. I'm just saying. I'm down. I'm always down to explore opportunities, man.
When do they stream?
Yeah, you guys, I feel like they stream like on and off because you guys do some morning sessions, some evening sessions. So yeah, I don't know the actual cadence.
But everyone here, go over to Good Evening Crypto,
Yeah.
subscribe to their stuff. They're always doing great stuff.
Pull up to them. They're doing a giveaway to the whole conference of XRP Las Vegas. So you gotta pull up tonight.
XRP heads, go over there. Go get that free ticket.
I know you're in the audience.
Yeah.
As soon as I start talking about it, I see the numbers ticking up. People start sticking around. but no, yeah, you guys check out Good Evening Crypto all day. So Kevin Warsh pointing out that also there's a little bit of a race here as well, right? Like who can actually do this the best? Who's actually going to be ahead of the game when it comes to this crypto development and ecosystem. And um, yeah, I don't know. It's just a very well put together statement here off the cuff of him just talking about why it's important that, I mean, clearly there's something happening. All the best engineers in the world are moving to the United States to work on these problems. Some of the best investors in the world, Chris Dixon over there with A16Z and Mark Andreessen, Jeff Horowitz, like they've gone
Mhm.
pretty deep into the crypto rabbit hole.
How could you not?
And that was the other statement that he kind of made, whether he knew he was making it or not. He was like, what Mark Andreessen was actually saying, as his old statement was, software is eating the world, right? So that's their thesis. It's like this is just software.
Mhm.
It just happens to be software that deals with money and that allows people to use money in ways that they weren't able to do before.
Mhm.
You know, um, so by the way, Good Evening Crypto app said stream every day at 11 a.m. and at 9 p.m. on Saturday night. Big herd,
Nice. We gotta
big
start
herd.
doing some evening streams too.
Yeah, man, no doubt, no doubt. Um, so yeah, so these are the things that are coming out of his mouth. He's also very publicly on TV said that Bitcoin is like digital gold for the millennials and so on. And you know, there's just such a phenomenon. And the thing is, like, as a Fed chair, as someone who works in the like the institutional side of crypto, by the way, excuse me, of finance. By the way, Kevin Warsh was a federal, uh, a board member of the Federal Reserve back in like '08 or so, right? So he's been in and around the Fed for some time. So that's kind of like his whole background. And so for someone to be looking at this as two different things, he's like, look, people are using this.
Mhm.
Okay. And obviously there's an actual technology there as well.
Totally.
But when you're a Fed chairman, you have to think about what people are doing with their money. Like it's not just about, oh, this is good, this is bad. It's like, well, this is what people want, and this is
Mhm.
what they're gonna do. You know, like stable coins. Like if people start using stable coins and they start pulling their money out of their bank account, like that matters as the Fed chairman. You know, you have to understand that that's a possibility. So anyway,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, like Sir Knight said, but saying is software that deals with money is doing a lot of heavy lifting. There's so many layers, right? Of course, we're simplifying things for the sake of conversation, but yeah, 110%. That's a big deal. And I don't know if I fully agree with this point where BAPN says if it's a competition, that's bad. The race to the top always screws everything up. To bring up Jeff Booth, who's been a recurring character today, that's assuming that we don't live in or don't get to live in a truly free market, right? I think competition, when it's truly open and competition, it's not skewed one way or rigged. I think competition brings out oftentimes the best in people, especially if they're good people. But I just think we've been in a lot of systems that aren't what we're told they are.
I think there's some examples of where that might stand, which right now the most obvious thing is like the AI thing, right? Where it's like what's happening, the competition there is actually a lot more scary than it needs to be. And the same thing with like nuclear technology.
Mhm.
It's like, yeah, like the race to be able to create a nuke that could destroy the planet. Yeah, I get what maybe you mean by that there, but I can't in my head in real time think of like what the distinction is between that and like trying to make money better. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? But there's definitely a difference in those things, and I could see why if we're talking about nukes, like, yeah, um, that probably isn't the best thing.
Definitely. And then, yeah, someone said, well, Ab said competition fuels innovation. That's my perspective, at least. And then SVG says people will cheat. Yeah, but if we're saying that like code is a truth layer and we're saying that this is now the code version of money, that also comes with a lot more inherent transparency than we've been accustomed to in the past. So I think that's also something to consider. I think we're trying to extrapolate out to a future that we have a very horrible paradigm of assessment because we only have the past to right to extend forward. And there are times and moments in histories and technological innovations that just are paradigm shifting. And I've always thought that crypto was one of those things.
Totally, man. Um, and then I wanted to speak on Kevin Warsh. So here's the thing, right? So Kevin Warsh becoming the Fed chairman. All right, cool. Like he doesn't have direct capabilities to like make crypto amazing, right? Like you've got a lot of other pieces that still need to be in place. That's why the Clarity Act is so important, honestly,
Mhm.
because it gets the whole government aligned with what the rules are. You got the SEC, the CFTC, and the Treasury as well has to do some things to really make this all work out, and they've actually taken a lot of steps. Rodney Hood, when he was the acting, I think he was the acting head of the OCC, which is a department of the Treasury, and basically said like, okay, banks, you can custody Bitcoin. This was like early last year that he did that, and that's a pretty big deal. So like these little steps that can be taken to make this stuff happen, and then also the actual Infrastructure Clarity Act and stuff like that. But the Fed does have some things that they can essentially actually control. One of them, and this has been a massive thing the entire time, is the bank charters. Okay. So allowing crypto companies and organizations and whatnot to be able to get access to the Federal Reserve's system, essentially, right? Because right now, every crypto company has to have a bank account with a bank, right? So they can't really be the actual infrastructure to the system. They have to rely on a bank for the most part. And so the Fed, one thing that they can eventually start doing is actually allowing crypto companies to have a bank charter and be the financial infrastructure, to be the connection between crypto and the real world, or the the traditional financial system. And so that's one thing that he could actually do with his time in the Fed. And so, like, banks, okay, so Fed also has control over all the banks. So even if they don't allow the crypto companies to have their own bank accounts, they can limit what banks can do with crypto as well, right? Can you actually deal with crypto? To what degree can you deal with crypto? Things like that. Um, so those are some of the things that they can technically actually influence. Now, something that happened over the past, I think this was only a couple of months ago, was Kraken
Mm.
actually scoring direct access to the Fed payment system. This was March 4th, 2026. And with this, they earned a limited master account, representing a little bit of a breakthrough for this industry. And so the limited access is important too, because essentially what banks get to do is banks get to park money at the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve will pay them an interest on their reserve balances. Okay. So Kraken got access to the federal payments system to be able to essentially send money to other banks, right? As a bank, we can now facilitate your money to another bank as a bank and not through our bank. But they are not necessarily going to be able to get interest on reserve balances. Okay. So that's a really big distinction, because it's like, yeah, you can use the banking system, but are you really a bank? Like, not really. But the point of this is the Fed is trying to like ease their way into the game and let crypto companies have a foot in the door and like ease their way into this. And like, how do we really feel about crypto companies having access to the federal payment system in that way? So that's kind of what that was. Let's see. So yeah, I mean, this is that's pretty much the big thing that they can do, is like start issuing banking charters, and to what degree they actually allow them to access the system. But yeah, so Kraken making that first step is awesome. But once again, they don't have full banking privileges, they don't have unlimited access, and they don't get interest on reserves. So another thing that the Fed is responsible for, right? So the Fed has a triple mandate kind of thing, where it's the dual mandate first, which is maximum employment and stable prices. But then the other thing is like stability of the overall financial system. And so, with all of these different things, the Fed has the interest rates that they can move up and down to try to influence inflation as well as employment. And then they have liquidity that they can do. They can do QE or QT.
Mm.
And Kevin Warsh's stance, I've learned, is that he actually is not like super, super dovish, where like free money, rates down, like let's run it.
Mhm.
His thing is he wants to see lower rates, but he also wants to see restrictive policy regarding the Fed's balance sheet. He wants the Fed to not have so many assets on its balance sheet. He wants there to be less money printing.
Mhm.
And so it's basically he's saying, look, like these two things can balance each other out. Lower rates, because we've got technology and productivity coming from technology, so that should provide a deflationary force on prices. But at the same time, we need to get the bank from being so influential in the markets. Like the Fed has way too much of a footprint in the markets. Every time they come in and buy all these treasuries, they've got more power over the system, right? Because then they can dump them or whatever else. You
Of
know what I'm
course.
saying? So, anyways,
No,
That's his real stance.
that's great stuff. Yeah, and then also those beliefs and opinions where people are trying to interpret that for whether this was like a bullish thing for crypto or a bearish thing for crypto, right? Because like you could make a compelling argument for both sides, right?
Totally.
And so yeah, it didn't really give people a lot of clarity, no pun intended. But there was an awesome comment here from Abs related to something we were talking a little bit earlier on was the same way that Conor McGregor made the UFC mainstream, influencers plus educators will bridge the next wave of mainstream adoption for digital assets. 110 theory. I think you're spot on, man. And so that's also why, like, the core thesis for a show like this, and much like your show, is that there has to be a place where, like, there has to be a show to bring this to people. Because also with, if you weren't here in previous cycles, it was, or if you were, sorry, it was pretty easy to find the foundational understanding of things and you built upon layers. Now there's so much noise out there that to learn it, it has to be done in a format like this,
Mm,
right? Where I can, and people always roast me for going on tangents and going off different paths. I'm doing that because there's something that I know that you could say a better way. But if I
mm,
just ask you the question, it won't sound as authentic, and it will be too intimidating for the person who's trying to consume it. Right. So like there is a little bit of method to the madness in terms of when I do go off on tangents. It's because I know there's something that I want Keith to say, but if I just ask him outright, he'll probably answer it like too technically, where the person that I'm trying to speak to won't understand it.
super fair,
Does
man.
that make sense? So like
Super
that's why,
fair.
like, why was Joe Rogan the gateway to people for like so many conversations? Is because he'll ask the dumb questions that I often ask. Right? Is like he'll say like, "Oh, did you mean it like this?" Da 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 da. Da. So anybody could come into the world and make that happen. Also, much like what you said, Abs, in terms of Connor pushed off the UFC, I would argue Joe was more of the launching pad for this. Because how many times was Connor talked about on the Joe Rogan show, right? So of course he became his standalone thing, but the depth of connection, I really think, was largely fostered through a show in a format like Joe Rogan.
That's a super interesting thought.
Because
Definitely the layer for what Conor McGregor meant to the
became
space came from what base Joe Rogan has laid, no doubt.
he has such a deep relationship with so many people at scale, where a lot like when they came at him for the smear campaign when he signed the Spotify deal, because I think he said the N word. So definitely a tough
Oh,
look.
interesting.
There was some context that I'm not providing, so definitely do your own research, whatever. But I think he was quoting something and he said it in an episode that was super old, right? And they really came at him because he just signed this deal, and his download numbers went like up, not down, because people knew that it was. I'm hopeful it wasn't like racist motivated, but I think people just realized that this was a hit piece, right? Because
Mhm.
he's so clearly not racist.
I don't know, but but
You
other
think
than
Joe's
that,
racist?
I don't think he's racist. I just don't think it's clear that he's not racist.
Really?
um, I think that's also just like I don't look at people and be like, oh, they're not racist, or like listen to people, because also like a lot of people when they're racist, they don't know that they're racist or whatever racist things that they have going on.
So what does
So
that
yeah,
mean?
so like you might not verbally say something that you think is racist, but you might still have very racist beliefs, you know. But it's just a different thing, right? Do you openly oppress people is different from, do you have prejudices in your mind that keep you from talking to certain people or treating people a certain way? Like, I don't know.
Yeah, that's also so subjective in terms of how you even see the definition of those words too.
Yeah, I think that's very
Joe
fair.
is a Trojan horse. Okay, that's yeah. I was talking about this with my girlfriend the other day, where she's like, "Do you think that they try to influence Joe towards specific opinions?" And I was like, "They wouldn't even have to. If you just showed him certain things on like his algorithm or whatever, he would just be thinking he's following his own curiosities."
Fair.
Right? So, like, I'm not saying that they do that, but I feel like they would definitely have the technical capacity to do that. I don't think it's clear Joe is not racist. I don't know. We'll agree to disagree on this.
Yeah,
I've
I
never
just don't,
seen.
because also like I don't listen to him enough. I think that's really what it all comes down to. Like I
Got
don't
it.
I don't listen to him enough to be like, oh, he's clearly not racist. Like I don't know.
From I've consumed a decent amount of his content, and I definitely didn't detect a racist undertone, but I don't think he's being racist right now. I think he's just sharing his opinion. But Yeah, from what I've looked at, and again, I'm also the same race as him, so I'm not able to look at it, I guess, purely objectively because I'm the same race. I guess, well, he's Italian, but I'm white. He's white. But from what I've seen, it seems like he doesn't have a problem with anybody's race. But yeah, to each their own.
No, super fair. Um, anyways, Kevin Warsh, pretty much tapped out on that though. I think as the incoming Fed chair, we see that there's some things that he could do, which is mainly to give crypto companies access to the banking system. And from there, we'll see if this is, once again, restrictive Fed policy in terms of QT, getting assets off of the balance sheet, therefore selling right assets onto the market, plus lower interest rates, what that really, really means. He also had a statement that I watched of him saying about how like he acknowledges the fact that like money printing leads to massive wealth inequality because only the people that are closest to the money get access to
Get
that.
benefits.
So he's very aware of that.
Mhm. So yeah, people are continuing on that. Did you detect an anti-racist tone? What does that mean to be
Because
anti-racist?
because that's what I'm saying too. Because I don't watch him enough to see him go there, and so therefore I'm like I don't really know.
I have seen him say, and again, I've not watched everything. There's so many things I've not seen. Maybe there's so many things contradicting what I have seen, but it seems like he does try to advocate for people who are less represented. But again, I don't know.
Which yeah, like I feel like I have seen things of that. Like for instance, he talks about like the prison systems and stuff like that in America and how they're not properly administered for one, people are treated wrong and like slave labor, things like that. And then how people I think are overrepresented in those systems for how much crime is actually being committed, things like that.
Hmm.
I feel like I have seen him talk about things like that. Which, when it comes to Joe Rogan, the reason I think you would say that he's not racist as well, or like why it's obvious that he's not racist, is because from what I see from him, I mean, he tries to stay as objective as he can about certain things, and like if something's wrong, he'll call it. You know what I'm saying? Um, so yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I just once again like I also don't feel like his guests in a way really represent that he's just like I'm not saying that oh he needs to have more black guests on or Asian guests on or whatever, but like you don't necessarily see a huge diversity in the guests that are on his show, to be fair.
In terms of like skin color or thought.
Well, he talks about everything. So when it comes to that side of it of the race representation, because we're talking about racism, or whether or not he's racist. I just don't see that per se. But also, once again, I don't watch him like that, so maybe I'm just missing it. But he talks to celebrities. He doesn't talk to rappers. You know what I'm saying? Like honestly, yeah.
But
Like
could that just be because he doesn't like rap music?
it could be, but once again, he talks about everything.
There's a lot of things he doesn't talk about.
Interesting.
Like
I think he talks to who he wants to talk to, right? Like I think
totally.
that's kind of how it works.
Yeah. No, 110%.
And
And
that's
I
fair.
think Ab's perspective was solid. I think everybody has certain prejudice, both consciously and subconsciously. I would agree with that. But I never try to interpret malice where I can apply incompetence, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Totally.
I think that's totally fair. Guest is a huge statement to me. Yeah. I'm sure he's probably not even thought about these things. And so then if not thinking about it makes him racist, then I guess he's racist. But again, you could play that game forever, I think. I don't know.
I'm looking through the guests and stuff right now, and it's like, look, when there is someone like he talks to a lot of entertainers
Hmm.
and like sometimes athletes, I guess. Um, but yeah, I mean, like he talks about a lot of stuff, man. To be fair, he really does. And maybe there's something else to it. Honestly, like it'd be very interesting to have that conversation with him. Like how does this happen when you're talking to so many different people and so many different like look one of the and I'm also only particularly looking for black here because it's probably the let me not say it that way, representative to the American population,
Hmm.
like it's not there. um Shakur Stevenson, I don't know who. Oh, MMA. Like if it's a black person, it's a lot of the times it's someone who's in the MMA,
Uh,
which once again, who does he want to talk to?
Yeah. Again, I think it's all gonna be based on your perspective. Like, I'm seeing a fair amount of black people here scrolling down. Of course, it's definitely a lot more white people, 110%. But, yeah, I hope you
I
go
mean,
on there, and I hope you
we
can ask him this
we
question.
don't have a lot of black people on here. You know what I'm saying? So it's not but we also do cover specific types of topics to some degree.
Mhm.
But I don't know. I don't know, man. I think it's definitely interesting. But once again, it's comedian,
I feel
which
like we have a
again,
fair
he's
amount
a
of black
comedian.
people on here.
But they're all like, once again, I'm not saying that there's not black people on there, but
No,
I am saying
I'm saying on
it's
our show,
definitely under.
we've had everything.
Oh, you said on here.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, yeah.
We've had going through it, we got black, Asian, rich white guy, Asian white guy dad pairing, a guy who I don't know size origins, but he's not white, I don't think.
No, he's definitely not white.
Yeah, I think that deliberately seeing a bunch of different opinions is a very good thing, and I think that I can agree with your point that he definitely sticks into specific lanes. But I don't know if that's like a racist intent, but I would love for you to talk to him and bring this up to him.
Yeah, and it's not, but racism isn't it doesn't have to be an intent. That's not what racism is. And racism is how you move, right? And that's kind of that's I
But
think what I was
doesn't
trying to point
doesn't
out
an
about that.
intent like dictate how you move?
Not no, not at all. Intent does not have to dictate how you move. People do all kinds of stuff without intent all the time. That's why people go to prison for things that they didn't intend to do. Like people, manslaughter is a whole charge. Like I didn't intend to run that kid over, bro, but I
But
still got to go to prison for that.
yeah, but isn't like the racism thing purely based on like you're doing this because they are a certain race and isn't that intent?
It does, but that's not intent per se, right? Like I might not. Once again, there's a lot of subconscious things that occur. It's like I'm not going to hire this person because I don't feel comfortable with them. And I realize, maybe I don't realize, but most of that actually just because they're black. You know what I'm saying? Or because I just don't feel comfortable with black people or
Mhm.
whatever, or they don't. Yeah, and obviously that's not like a very good example, because I do think that like there's always going to be things around culture when it comes to hiring and things like that. But like sometimes that is the actual reason why, but
Totally.
you might not acknowledge that.
Yeah, fair. I think that also goes every which direction. I think that a lot of people hire people that are like them. Like, I see that happen, like,
Right.
like, that happens all over the place, like, I'm seeing that happen now where, like, a lot of people like, we've had so many Indian immigrants here, and, like, the people who own Indian houses, they'll only rent to Indians,
Right.
and they'll only hire Indians.
Mhm.
If I say that as a white guy, I'd be all over CBC News saying we're only taking white applicants, I'd be getting torched.
Yeah,
But it's
that's definitely not in America. That's not legal, right, to do something like
that's a
that.
thing here with, like, Asian people do that a lot too. They'll be like, Asian only, or they'll do, like, Indian only. So, yeah, it's a I don't know. Again, I'm very fortunate where I grew up in like a very multicultural space from a very young age. So I'm ignorant to a lot of these things. So your experience you would know way better than me.
Well, Ponderosa made a good point about the example that I just gave. So that's prejudice bias and not racism. I think that's a good point there for the one that I gave about like the hiring thing. It was just the first thing that came to my head.
Mhm.
Um, but it's like, and also like the reason I feel like I can speak on this too to some degree is because like I grew up in a weird spot where I'm the black person around all white people, but I'm like kind of in that for a very large percentage of my time, to where like I've noticed my own tendencies toward my own race, right? In those in like the way that I've been influenced and shaped. So like in that regard, I'm like maybe another example is like, yeah, I don't know. Maybe there's more talk to be done around like that word racism, because we do use it sometimes in ways that's not fair,
Mhm.
that might be more harsh than is relevant, but prejudice bias is maybe better, because maybe racism requires, um, maybe that does require this conscious thing of I don't like black people
Mhm.
for it to count as racism, or white people, or whatever it is.
Yeah, I don't know the rules of any of this. And again, I only know my experience as a white dude. So I'm ignorant to a lot of these things. I'm just trying to understand.
But But yeah, I don't know. I think these are interesting conversations because like in the way that you said what you said about Joe Rogan was the only reason I felt like it was worth challenging is because like I just didn't know that I felt that it was obvious. You know
Mhm.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
That was all.
yeah. I've heard and talked to a lot of people of different races, and it seemed like that was like not a huge determining factor in terms of like who he was and wasn't friends with is more so what I'm saying. And I'd say like that's how I conduct my life is that of course I see color. I'm not gonna people like, oh, I don't see color, but like it's like a non-relevant thing in my order of priorities for if I like someone or not. Like it's like for me, it's as significant in terms of my choice of who I spend time with as like, how do you keep your hair? Like, I don't really care. Do I like you as a person, right? And it felt like from when I watched him talk, it seemed like he had like a similar views to me on those kind of things to a degree. And again, I've seen like maybe 1% of the things that have come out of his mouth. So like, I'm sure there's so many quotes that would contradict everything that I'm saying. But yeah,
Totally, totally. But yeah, no, it's an interesting conversation, man. Because people don't talk about it enough, and because it's been so canceled, and it's just like, bro, like we
it's
gotta
sad that you
have
can't have the
conversations.
conversation. Yeah, because they do need to be had, and, like, some things are just objectively, like, broken. Do you know what I mean? And because it becomes so polarizing, like, people don't have the conversation, it's like, okay, like, multiple things can be true at the same time too, right? And everyone becomes so obsessed over what the closest thing to them is true, and they just keep yelling that, and see
Yeah,
it becomes who can say it the loudest, which is just silly.
yeah. I
Ye
appreciate you engaging in the conversation because I know that could be a little bit uncomfortable,
Well, no, I'll
especially
always try, I just think
considering.
there's nothing right I can say, you know what I mean? It's not my lived experience, and I do understand that, like, I think it's less of a thing in Canada, but, like, everyone comes with, like, different privileges to a situation, right? Like, you've even said that before, I believe, where it was like, privilege exists in so many different ways, shapes, and
Yes.
forms for different things, right? And I will say as someone who's, like, spent time in America, like, it definitely seems like a bigger systemic thing.
Mm,
Uh, and that's also because I'm very fortunate where I grew up in that wasn't even an option because I was the minority.
right.
So, like, there was no world where it was going to be, um I didn't say that I'm colorblind. There was never a world where that was going to be the case, right? And so that definitely gives me things, but I try to be as objective as possible in realizing that stuff because I do know that racism is a very real thing. Like, there's a lot of people who have that in them. I think it's some of the dumbest shit on the planet, but it clearly exists, right?
Yeah. Um, that was something that I had to deal with. Um, Once again, like growing up, kind of like just like, look, I'm not like I still got family. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not like
Mhm.
totally removed, but at the same time, I'm immersed in a totally different kind of world. And so I started to take up like, okay, well, if I'm not experiencing super bad stuff here, then maybe it just isn't like that. But it's like, nah. Um, First off, there's things you eventually learn that you're just not seeing. Um,
Mhm.
and then also, um, man, there was a lot of stuff that happened, man. That was crazy. But also just like, outside of my experience, what are things like? And then gosh, I don't know. I'm losing my train of thought and just thinking about some of the stuff that I saw in high school, man. But like,
Are you open to talking
um,
about it or no?
I mean, it wasn't the biggest deal in the world, but like at the end of the day, when you're in an environment like that and you're trying to, as a young dude, like figure out like you're trying to be normal. You're trying to just like be normal. And we all have very natural desires. Uh we're attracted to certain people, like things like that. And this didn't happen to me, but I remember at one point, uh, every school has their school dance. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? And so there was this moment where this kid asked this girl out, uh, to go to the dance with him. And something, by the way, that like we're in high school, like no one cares. Like this isn't that big of a deal. Like
Mhm.
it doesn't mean anything. And a parent steps in and blocks that because this young dude is black. And just like little things like that, right? Where you're like,
Publicly?
oof, yeah. I mean, Would it, that's their
Uh,
preference. That's
Yeah, no, I'm
something
saying
that
like they didn't that wasn't done behind closed doors. Like that was like
I mean, we
outright.
all knew about it.
Okay.
So just like little stuff. That's not, gonna be the worst thing in the world, but it's just like it's like, whoa, like what went wrong?
Mm,
Like what happened? Like if you're that person, like, well, what did I do wrong? You know what I'm saying? But
totally.
there was
The
nothing that you
very
did wrong.
no, it'd be very distorting.
So, anyways, um, just like I forgot where I was going with all of that, but um, yeah, like back to it all. It's like racism doesn't have to be I hate you inner. We experienced that too.
Mm.
but but it can also just be little things
Hmm.
like that, or
No, I think it's all over the place.
people talking to you in ways that doesn't uh allow you to move forward, like people talking to you as if you're an infantile, or that you aren't able to take in information. And when people talk to you in that way,
Hmm.
you're not leveling up, or just like you're being pushed and stuck and pushed down to where they see you as.
Totally. No, I can only imagine that's it's I just think so many people it's such a complex issue. But good evening, crypto. Abs had a good point here. And I had a very similar experience. He said I had a unique experience. Went to 3 different schools and then 4 different colleges. So yeah, I had a very similar thing, Abs, and I would say I was given the same sort of gifts from that. Like my elementary school that I went to, it was like an absolute melting pot. It was like a feeder for like 2 different government housing complexes, like subsidized housing, which had a lot of immigrants and stuff, which was really cool. And then we also were the feeder school for everybody who didn't speak English in the area.
Wow.
And then we also were the feeder school for the mentally disabled, and then also the mentally gifted. Because it was so random. It was like this shit school objectively. Like it was so old that it had asbestos in it and stuff like that, which
What's
was
that?
I got to miss a week of school because of that. But basically, to keep it running, they basically had to throw like everybody at it. Do you know what I'm saying? Like there wasn't
Interesting.
enough kids, so they're like, okay, well, we got to bring in this, and we got to bring in that, and we
Mm,
got to bring in this, basically to keep the lights on,
wow.
and have the numbers to keep it open. So yeah, and I switched schools a lot too, which allowed me. So in I was at that school until grade 6, and I went to a different school for grade 7, grade 8, grade 9, and then grade 10. So yeah, you get to see a lot of different people. I think a lot of people are so stuck on how they think because they've been around the same people for so long, and even when it's different people there weren't that many of those changes, and they typically kind of like fade into very similar experiences. So like they just think that, okay, I went to a different school. They found the same person basically as who was their friend before. So
Mm,
they just think everyone's like that.
mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Super fair. Yeah, that's cool, man.
I
So
can't
you
hear
got
you,
to
buddy.
see. Oh,
Your mic's not muted, but I can't hear you.
interesting. Sharp, can you
Is
hear
my
me?
stuff tripping? Can people hear Keith?
Interesting. Um,
Maybe my headphones are broken?
Mic check 1 2 1 2. Mic check at 1 2.
Because your thing's lighting up. This must
Mic
be a
check
me
1.
problem.
Mic check 1 2 1 2. But no, I saw some other
What's
stuff.
going on here?
Ponderosa said memes and Marcus therapy Tuesdays.
I still can't hear shit.
um, let's see. Yeah,
Yeah, I can't
good
hear
evening,
nothing. Can you
crypto.
hear me, Keith?
I can hear you just
You
fine,
can.
man.
What the heck?
Yeah.
So my stuff's tripping. But yeah, yeah, I can't hear you either, Asipa. So this has got to be a me
Oh,
problem.
okay. Yeah.
But yeah, Ab said, I'm blessed for that as I feel I matured fast from the experiences. Yes, it forces you to, it's data points, right? And then it also allows you to flex that empathy muscle. So everyone can hear except for me. That's freaking awesome.
um, yeah, totally though. I mean, I can only
I
imagine
guess I'm
being
just
able
cooked,
to
man.
see all these different experiences and stuff
Should I
too.
try to leave and come back? But that'll screw it up, right?
Try to Can you try the speaker? Ooh, I guess
Let me see if I
he's
can
not
change the
gonna hear
speaker.
me.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. That's what's going on. We're good. I can hear y'all now.
Okay, okay. It's funny. I was literally like, you should try the speaker, and then you immediately were already. It was almost like you heard me.
I don't know why it switched to that just randomly.
um, but then someone said, did you experience any of that in Miami?
Yeah, I'd love to hear about that. I was gonna ask that.
I mean, yes, but it's way different there. Um, Miami's funny, man. Miami's a very interesting place, man. Like, it's so America in a lot of ways. So you got to think there's a different thing. You've got a concentration of people that are still not still, but they're in power there. It's not like most of America. If you go to rural America, rather, you're going to see white people, right, everywhere in charge of everything. Um, in Miami, there's a little bit of a mix. You've got a nice amount of Hispanic representation
I heard about that.
of
Yeah.
the population and in politics and in business and so on. So you get it from them too out there, which is
Really?
super fascinating because like I was never expecting that when I got, you know what I
Wow.
mean? Like I'm thinking I'm good.
Is it the same flavor as white racism, or is it different?
It's pretty similar, man. It's pretty similar. I don't know how to put it, but like in a way, so the predominant Hispanic nationality that's there are Cubans,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and a lot of Cuban people. I don't think that it matters that much, but they aren't necessarily not white. Is kind of the point. Like there's also African Cubans, Afro Cubans. There's a big Afro Cuban culture, in fact, and so they have like the same divide. You know what I'm saying? It's not really too different in that
Mhm.
regard. It's kind of like whites and blacks there as well.
Got it.
So, so yeah, it translates, which is just super weird because it's like, whoa, um, are we all kind of like minorities here? But like, obviously, there's people that represent people. People are people. So it's always like that to some degree. You know, have
Mhm.
black people that are racist against whites as well. Always,
Oh,
you know, have
yeah.
that. Uh, so yeah, and I had incredible experiences with people that were nothing like that as well, like the mayor of Coral Gables, incredible
Totally.
guy.
Man,
Um,
I
yeah.
will say I like, of course, that does exist, but I spend a lot of time around black people, and I will say, like, I feel like with black people, when they don't like you, it's obvious, right? Whereas white people, like, they're a little more. I don't know how to phrase this correctly, but, like, much like you said before, like, you kinda know where, like, I've found at least that if I've ever been around black people that they didn't like me because I was white, it was, like, so glaringly obvious, I never had to guess.
Mm.
Do you know what I'm saying? And then when it's the opposite, like, especially because in Jacksonville, there's a very large black community, and so, like, I've got, black friends there, and they're always very inclusive and down to have me around and stuff like that.
Mhm.
But, I know, like, white people who are a little more not like that, and they hide it a little bit more.
That's totally real. Yeah, I think that's real at least. Yeah, man. I can see that. Um, yeah, man. Yeah, I try my best to call people out because it's very easy for black people to be like, just to be racist. They black people get to be racist a lot more easily because and I say that like from a cultural acceptance perspective.
Totally, yeah, 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 yeah.
You know, they're just like, oh well, white people did this, and so they're this. Like all white people are this, and it's like, well, you're kind of doing the thing that you're accusing them of doing.
Yeah, but I also I get, like, why they feel that way, like, I understand the perspective, yeah, it's just, how helpful is it in certain situations, but I totally hear what you're saying.
Yeah. So, yeah, dude, Miami's a crazy city, man. Because also, there's not as much of a black community to a degree, at least not African American.
Mhm,
I think we talked about this a little bit because there's just so many different Caribbean people
mhm,
there. So you've got the Haitians, the Jamaicans, the people that are from like Saint Nevis or like Dominica, not Dominican Republic, but the Dominica, the island.
mhm.
And like, so there's just all these different groups of black people. So you're kind of on an island as an African American there as well. Um,
It's fascinating.
it's super interesting, man.
That's
Cool
super.
city in a way.
Yeah, no, I look forward to hearing more about it, but, Canada must be on easy mode. It's definitely very, very multicultural, so, like, that does help. I'm sure the next generation, there'll be so much mixing that I do feel like a lot of that stuff will probably go not away, but, like, be less significant. And then sorry, Ben, I don't think you have a lot of experience around black people being from Canada. I guess that depends on your definition, but a lot of my friends in school were black, and then especially playing sports, like a lot of the best players were black, right? So I played sports with a lot of black people who were awesome, and yeah, and then Indian, Pakistani, a bunch of different Asian countries, a lot of everything.
Uh, totally, man. Jay Lilly said Liberty City. Liberty City is a fact. That's where you'll find a lot of the African American people is in Liberty City, which, by
Is
the way, is not like the most amazing place. You know what I'm saying? It's not like the most
is that a
um,
part of Miami?
economically thriving places. Yes, yeah, it's in Miami. It's like North Miami,
Mm.
over by like Miami Gardens, which is where the stadium is and stuff. Which is wild, and that place is starting to get built upon as well. My mentor was like uh, helping with some of the developments that were happening in that place, and uh, gosh, dude, Miami's such a fascinating place. Um,
It seems incredibly interesting. It seems like there's so many um, like ways to experience it.
Facts, no doubt about that, right? Because yeah, like Liberty City, you would never go there, um, but that's a big part of Miami culture. It's like Liberty City. But like South Beach is where everyone stayed. And even South Beach is so different, or Miami
Mm.
Beach is so different from Brickell and like downtown Miami. And then you got Coral. It's fascinating. And then you go all the way up and down the South Florida. You get up to Boca Raton and West Palm with all those people, Palm Beach Pete and all those people.
Is that the guy who? Yeah. That's the guy who's blowing up because he looks like what's his name?
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
And then someone said, JN, sorry, but I feel like we have racists in all countries, ethnicity. Some are
Definitely.
welcoming regardless of where you're from or what they experience, and some are racist regardless of what. Totally. Totally.
Yeah, it's definitely a real thing across the board. But it does seem like it gets less significant as people have access to more diverse friends and experiences and whatnot too. Because Kurt and I were talking about it, producer Kurt, about like why, because he's the same way. He had the same experience that I did. We went to the same school or whatever, and it was just you can't even conceive being racist when your best friends are like all the different races. So it's like it doesn't even grasp. That's taught. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think you come out the womb like that. I think
No,
that
you
that's
don't.
something that's actively taught or picked up upon, and, I think that as more people are forced to grow up around different kinds of people, that's already happening here in Canada. Anywhere you live in Canada, you're gonna grow up around fricking everything because we let in so many immigrants every single year where they're coming from all over. So I do think that this will hopefully continue to be less and less of an issue.
For sure, man. No, that's super real. Yeah, I think our generation is like way different just because we've all, I guess, experienced that multiculturalism and like the globalism, right, that we've all seen. Um, at least in the West, right? That's what's happened. Probably not so much in like a place like China, to be honest. They probably still, have a lot of that goes on, but even
Mhm.
online. But actually, that's a really good example because I actually had a friend who went to China. He didn't go to Chinese in Japan around some Chinese people, and they were on some crazy stuff, like saying crazy stuff because they're just so far removed
Totally.
from that culture. They don't see
They don't
us,
s Yeah, totally.
or intermingle.
No, 100%. Yeah, I've heard that when like, if you go to China and if you're, like, anything besides Chinese, like, they wanna take pictures with you and stuff.
Yeah. They'll take pictures with you, they'll touch your hair, stuff like that, but also just, like, the language thing, like, they don't get that, like, bro, you can't you can't be throwing words like that around
Mhm.
and not expect a reaction.
Yeah. This
But
is
yeah,
good point by Bison. Yeah, the parents are the key. That's definitely an important thing because people like, as your kid, you're just a sponge, right? And that's another thing, like, I was very lucky that even, like, my grandparents, like, racism was, like, not a tolerable thing, so, yeah.
for sure, dude. I remember being in middle school, like, I mean, at the time, I couldn't think anything other than this dude's racist, but as I got older, I was like, "Oh my god, like, what were these people saying inside this dude's home?" You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like, that had to be what was going on because 'cause you're, like, in 2nd grade, and this dude's dropping the hard R and, like, "You dumb this," and I'm like, "Bro, like, whoa." Like,
Mhm.
where did that come from? But yeah, that's definitely how it works, you know?
That China has the largest skin bleaching market in the world. Yeah,
Oh,
I've heard that being pale is a status symbol.
yeah,
So
it's
funny, man. We're so weird, like, other white people wanna be darker, and then they wanna
yeah,
be super white.
it's so funny. I was in Morocco, 2 years ago, and we were like I was with someone, we were looking at like skincare stuff and like it's like, oh, this one's the bleaching one, like just so you know, and this one's the non-bleaching one. I'm like, really? Like this
Bleaching
is
is
a thing?
crazy.
Like, whoa. In Morocco too, but I think like
That can't be good for your skin.
no, I don't think so.
The
And then
beauty shit is, go ahead.
one time I was in the Netherlands and I saw this dude. Like I don't even think about stuff like this, but I saw this dude. He looked like he was South Asian, and I was just like looking at him like, does this dude like bleach his skin?
Wow.
And then I was like, well, he's South Asian, so I imagine that's probably a pretty big thing there. Like your skin color can like determine what caste you're part of or whatever, things like that. So I'm like, that dude bleaches his skin, like just visually I can see. Like that's crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, John's right. I know it's a big thing in India too,
Mm,
where like a lot of the Bollywood stars, they're like that
mm,
because they're the most
mhm.
pale.
Right.
Man, we're so evil, man, in terms of like everyone just feels like they have to change because it's a product, right? If you're
100%.
forced to change, it means you're forced to buy something.
Right.
How many countries have you been to, Keith? That's a great question.
Oh, I don't know for sure. I don't know for
Imagine
sure.
buying the wrong one. Yeah.
Oh, that's too funny, man.
That you don't underwork the sun. I got it. It's historically meant that you don't work under the sun. That makes sense. I guess that's what they're saying. That the
Oh, that's
status symbol
fair.
originated there, so
Yeah.
that if you were darker, it meant you were working in the fields, kind of thing, or like outside.
That's crazy. But yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah.
It's in India. Like, I'm ignorant to this stuff, but I have a lot of Indian friends, and they've talked about it like briefly, where they have a very pretty like rigid hierarchy of like what family you are and like what your name is dictates a lot of the things that your life is governed by. Which again, I could be even getting the country wrong, so excuse my ignorance, but I've heard that that's a big thing.
Osipa, what happened with Kevin Warsh? Let us know in the chat. And then I did see this real quick coming out on Twitter. Let's hear what he's saying in the testimony.
We do believe that digital assets should be incorporated into our financial industry so Americans have new investment opportunities and consumer protections.
Senator, digital assets are already part of the fabric of our financial services industry in the United States. Yes.
I believe
He's testifying that digital assets are in the financial system.
Yeah, I think that's pretty hard to dispute at this point, unless you really ain't trying to pay attention.
Big facts, man. So probably by the end of the day, he'll be confirmed. If not, then they'll end up having another meeting with him. But seems like he'll be good to go. But definitely an interesting turn to our conversation today. That was pretty fun.
Yeah, definitely. True, it's like that many places. Yeah, in terms of the skin color. See, I'm always trying to get more tan because I look pretty pale if I'm out in the sun. But yeah, I've always liked it to be tan. My dad gets like super dark, and he used to work outside, so like he used to almost look Hispanic by the time the summer was over. He tanned really well, and I tan pretty well as well.
That's funny.
Seems Vance is going.
Yeah, once I moved to Miami, dude, I'm already a pretty black guy, but man, if I stay out there for too long, I get
Super dark.
super black.
Yeah. Okay, it's gonna sound like a really dumb question.
Uh-oh.
Can you burn?
Some people can.
Right?
Some people can. Like I think it really has to do with like, I don't know exactly how it works because I don't think just being lighter is it. Just like melanin, I think from what I understand, like it obviously contributes to you having darker complexion, but I think it's also like, I don't know how to put it, but like your melanin could be higher, but you not necessarily be darker.
Really?
And I believe that the melanin is kind of what it is that helps with
Interesting.
that. I don't actually know, just I'm not a
Cool.
scientist, but I just know that like I know black people that can burn, but like I've
Yeah.
never in my life put on
Wow.
sunscreen even.
Wow.
So,
That's cool. I hate sunscreen. But yeah, I usually get like one burn at the beginning of when the sun comes back out here. Because there's such also it's really bad because we spend the winter with like no sun. And then everyone wants to be out so much as soon as it gets warm. Yeah, so BAPN says yes, black people get sunburned. That makes sense.
I think it's a great question.
I don't know. I'm white, right? I know I burn and my shit peels like my skin. It's nasty, dude. Yes, you can get sunburned, but it takes a lot. Makes sense. Yeah. Some people in my family are hella pale. Like my My sister got that side, like the Irish side from her, and she can't even go out in the sun for like 5 minutes before she burns, man.
Dang.
And a lot of my family has a ton of freckles too. So if they go out in the sun, if they're not getting burnt, they're like getting a ton of freckles.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Back of shoulders, neck. Yeah, because I remember one of my like step grandfather, he got burned, and I was like, oh, I didn't know that was a thing.
Was he lighter than you?
Yeah, I use a little bit. I mean, I'm on the darker side. You know what I mean? I'm probably like 75th percentile. You
Mhm.
know? So yeah, he was lighter than me.
Interesting. Did you have anything else on the sheet, or should we go through the news? We've been on here
We
for a
got
while.
news.
Should we rip through the news?
Let's rip through the news, man.
Let's do it.
All right, folks. First thing on the docket is we've had the U.S. actually start to announce the tariff refunds. So people are freaking out about this. I mean, this came naturally to me when I thought about it. So $166 billion in tariffs going to be refunded after the Supreme Court ruling. That immediately came to my head. And I guess because I was just thinking about people as I'm creating content. And I'm like, yeah, people probably paid for those tariffs in terms of the prices being higher, but they ain't getting any of that money back. So
No.
people are freaking out about that. And then another thing that just happened, we actually had another DeFi hack. So Lazarus didn't just break crypto, they broke 3 servers. So Kelp DAO seems to have been exploited for $293 million in the last hour, making it the biggest DeFi hack of 2026, and it's far from being the only one this month. You also had Drift Protocol. We've covered that a little bit earlier in the year, or like a couple weeks ago. A bunch of other ones that have been hacked, and a lot of this is like North Korean hackers that are getting through to on these protocols. So crazy thing happening there. Next thing, we had Lovable apparently getting hacked, but then actually coming out and saying no, they were not hacked. And so they basically cleaned that up real quick. Polymarket, by the way, was the one who said that they were hacked, but they were not actually hacked.
Polymarket puts out some crazy tweets, man.
Yeah, usually it's pretty solid. Like I always fact check them because you actually were like, yeah, like is that real?
You found that they're pretty consistently accurate?
It's pretty consistently accurate, but like they got them yesterday, that's for sure.
For Twitter, they like good for Twitter is like a 70% hit rate, man.
Yeah. And they did technically say reportedly, right? So I did see that piece of it.
Got it.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
I wanted to double check it. But moving forward, oh yeah, so Tim Cook apparently stepping down from his position as the CEO of Apple. Huge move, man.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people, at least from an outsider's perspective, do feel like the brand has gone stale. So that might be good from optics standpoint.
So one of the things that people were saying, I think it's in our memes, so I'll leave it, but it was like, yeah, it's in our memes, so I'll talk about it later. But so this other guy, John Ternus, is the guy who's stepping in. He's a 50-year-old, Apple's youngest senior executive, joined Apple in 2001 as a product design engineer on the original iPod. And then mechanical engineering degree from the University of Pennsylvania, has led hardware engineering since 2021.
So more of a hardware guy, like, because what was Cook's background?
I have no idea, actually, to be honest.
I think he was more of just like a straight up business mind. I don't think he was as much of a, let's see, I could be totally off here.
I think that's right.
No, he's an engineer as well. He holds in industrial engineering.
Okay,
interesting. An MBA at Duke University, Cook known for his expertise in supply chain management. Okay, so it is more so like the business side of things.
Right.
Whereas Apple really blew up because the other people there earlier were so obsessed with product.
Yes. True designers.
Oh yeah.
So yeah. Moving forward here. Let me see. Oh yeah, and Trump made a whole statement about Tim Cook as well. He kind of came out and was like, always been a big fan of Tim Cook and likewise Steve Jobs, but if Steve was not taken away from the planet so young and ran the company instead of Tim, the company would have done well, but nowhere near as it has under Tim. For me, it began with a phone call from Tim at the beginning of the first term. He had a fairly large problem that only I, as the president, could fix. So anyways, I'm not going to read that whole thing, but he's
definitely not
talked highly of Tim Cook.
Interesting.
Yeah, I think that's interesting.
Different builders are there are good for different times. Tim was probably the perfect guy for what they were doing. Like, sure, now they're in a point where they got to try to change things a bit, but they're still such a successful business that when you get that big, you kind of are on risk preservation or risk avoidance mode, right? And so he seemed like a very risk avoidance kind of guy, and they're kind of paying the cost for that now. Like Siri is a crazy bad product. Like
Mhm.
how have we, and I guess truthfully, man, maybe this is a 40 chess move. They may not even need to win the AI race because they'll just buy the one that tanks first,
That's fair.
right? Like
Like the
it,
one that gets cheaper first so they can buy
yeah.
it, you're saying?
Where
Yeah,
they're
yeah.
like, okay, we can't get funding anymore. We need to
Mm,
partner or get absorbed by somebody, and then they just go do that, and that was
mm.
their plan all along. Like, you guys go do these crazy things, and we'll get it for cheap price later.
Totally, man. Totally. Um, so yes, that actually was the next piece here is people saying that Tim Cook will his legacy will be that he took the most innovative company in the world and hit cruise control for 15 years.
Yeah, that's funny. That's literally what I was to say. That's probably what he was supposed to do.
Yeah, yeah. So he's done that very well. Next, we'll talk a little bit about the conflict because the deadline for the ceasefire is tomorrow. And in this time, Trump has cited Defense Production Act to sign energy related memorandums. So he signed an executive order yesterday to basically say, look, we need to do more to expand domestic petroleum production in particular. And he also has said this morning, he came out and did like a little bit of a press conference or an interview on CNBC. And he made some statements about what he thinks is coming next year.
So to be clear, you're saying that you need at least the prospects for a signed deal today and tomorrow, or else you would resume bombing Iran.
Well, I expect to be bombing because I think that's a better attitude to go in with. But we're ready to go. I mean, the military is raring to go. They are absolutely incredible.
So preparing to go. As I mentioned in one of my videos on my channel, they are certainly positioning their troops in the region, and like it's a lot of resources to move people over there, right? Like it's a lot of money being spent just transporting 50,000 troops or whatever that have been moved over there. So it's double-sided. It's like that is posturing in a sense because it's saying I'm willing to do this. I'm willing to spend tens of millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars to move my troops over here. So that means that I will strike you, you know. And that's kind of where we're at. We saw some reports of Iran saying, look, we've taken this time to restock, you know what I'm saying? And my whole video Monday, I think it was like, this ceasefire was like just an opportunity to reload, essentially. It's kind of what just happened. So we'll see how it goes, but hopefully they find an end to this conflict.
Yeah, and there's some people who believe that the whole thing is just theatrics. Like Simon Dixon is one of the biggest people who talks about that consistently. And Simon, if you ever see this stuff, we would love to have you on the show. I think that'd be a super fun episode.
Pull up, Simon. Pull up. We'll be on your side for most of it, but we'll also challenge some of your ideas too. So it'll be
We'll
fun.
try, yeah, for sure. He definitely knows a lot more than I do, but I'll definitely try to ask some dumb questions.
Moving on to the memes. It's time for the memes.
Hit me with the
everybody.
memes.
So we've had this thing come up. I didn't even hear about this until yesterday, and you sent it to me, in fact. But we've got this show coming on to X. It's called MTS Live. It's the first timeline native news network that's always on, monitoring tech, finance, and geopolitics and culture as it happens. We are live now. And so I had no idea what was happening when you first sent this, but it took me a second to digest it.
My bad. I should give him context.
Once you sent some of the other ones, I was like, oh. So let me play you guys their trailer real quick.
Life has become more complex, the overwhelming sea of information. The advent of computers and the subsequent accumulation of incalculable data has given rise to a new story and thought parallel to your own.
To monitor the situation means to watch history in the making.
5, 10, 15, 20 years away.
No,
internal. 12,
Don't play games.
11,
Don't play games with this president.
It's
a scary idea.
I mean, that's the world we live in. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Did you get all of that?
So that's going on.
Yeah.
Thoughts?
It's being praised as a genius move. So it's been funded by A16Z, is my understanding. And so essentially, it's like imagine a news network that never goes off, that is basically covering the Twitter timeline as it happens. And I'm assuming that they're going to have the leverage and the connections to get the people on who are actually involved with the stories first.
Mhm.
And so that definitely gives them a massive advantage. So a big reason why a show like ours can grow, even in a very competitive media environment, is because we're able to cover topics that are independently interesting beyond us. And so we're able to leverage the borrowed attention of something that's happening in real time. And also because it's a supply and demand equation, if we're able to provide supply when there's not that much supply and there's a high degree of demand, and naturally you get views, even if you're not well known. And so now with these people essentially being able to potentially go directly to the source and get clips out almost instantly, if we continue to live in this clip-driven world, that could be potentially highly profitable. And someone says, I give them about a week. um, that was my whole thing. And maybe I'm totally misinterpreting this, but it's like, do people want that? I don't know. There's a lot of people who are currently competing for that, like that TBPN audience, right? Like the very pro tech, pro AI, pro innovation thing, right? And I like my core thesis for like why it would probably be more lucrative for us to try to talk to those people more. But I personally think that as more and more everyday people get access to things like AI, they'll see that a lot of these people that are in Silicon Valley like aren't smarter than them. And so I think that a lot of the, and so obviously I'm generalizing, some are, but I think that the next wave of builders will probably be more everyday people than a lot of these guys realize. And so yeah, it'll be very interesting to see where things end up. And I think everyone can win, but I also just think that there's not that many people that exist in these ecosystems, and there's more and more of these shows popping up, competing for like the same 100 to maybe 500,000 people. Period. So it'll be very interesting to see the long-term viability of all these guys.
Heard, man. Um, yeah, I mean, I also looked at it, and I don't know. It's just it's a weird concept to me in a lot of ways because it's just like, but why do I want to hear these people talk about it per se? And that's always what a podcast or what a show is, you know, like to
Yeah.
some degree, you just want to listen to these people talk about the thing.
At least that's what it was. I think that a lot of people are really banking on the clip future, right? Like that was always the threads that were going around for like the story isn't the 60,000 subscribers for TABPN, it's
It's the
the
clips.
TBPN, it's the clips, right?
Yeah.
And also there's another video that we could break down in terms of how Clavicular became so famous. We could do that on another episode. That could even be an episode like the clipification of everything.
Mhm.
And because that's become a thing. It was actually first really done to a high degree of success by Andrew Tate first, for like where you could basically, because if you reach a critical mass where something is seen so much that then the person's face becomes a hook, then it's basically a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Because it goes viral because it's going viral, which makes more people do it, and then it goes around and around and around and around. So you can basically manufacture how the algorithms function. So people have been doing that for a long time. I made a video covering how Tate was doing that for his school, and my video got like 19 million views. I was showing you that the
Oh,
day,
yeah, yeah.
Keith. And so now it's just become everything. But I personally think that'll swing back the other way. I think people will be like, I'm tired of everything being clipped, but who knows? We'll see.
Totally. I got to respond to this chat. I
Go
got
for it.
to.
Go for it. Go
It's
for it.
old. Ainde Castro said, LOL, Joe Rogan talks to a ton of diverse race. Hearing Keith talk about racism is cringe. Fair enough, man. You can have your opinion on it. The only point that I'm trying to make is that as someone who does not watch his stuff over and over again, it's
Mhm.
just not obvious to me that he's not racist. I'm not saying that he is
Who
racist and
is
I think he's
racist?
racist. All I'm saying is that it's just like, oh, he's just clearly not racist. Like, I don't know that from the outside of his stuff. That's all. But
You
anyway.
know, that's totally fair. And that's why I just shared my perspective in terms of like what I've seen. But again, I've only seen a very small amount.
So moving forward, moon video was taken. We saw this coming out, I'm pretty sure, as it was happening. But so we had that quick trip that NASA took around the moon. And this guy, the astronaut, shared an unedited version of this video that was taken on the moon with his iPhone.
Would you look at that, man?
How you feeling about that?
How am I supposed to feel?
I don't know, man.
I'll pull up a tweet from someone who did say something that I immediately thought when I saw, because it was like, it wasn't from his phone, it wasn't from his smartphone, it was from his iPhone. And so this guy said, Apple's marketing team right now.
Yeah. There's so much of that. It's like in movies, apparently you can always tell who the good guys and bad guys are because, and I don't know if this is true, so fact check this, but the bad guys will never have an iPhone.
Oh wow, wow, wow! That's crazy.
So
That's
if you want to spoil it, if it's true, you can spoil a lot of shows. But it's reigned true across what I've seen, but the sample size isn't large enough to be certain.
I mean, that, like, to me, that would make sense. Like, the hacker dude's not gonna have an iPhone; he's gonna have an Android, bro. That's just real life. That's just real life, man.
Yeah, I don't know.
The hacker guy uses Linux. You know what I mean? Like, he's not an Apple guy.
No doubt. Definitely all the moon stuff is wow. There's too much information out there to even like get into that stuff. But it was super funny when your post just commenting on what the guy said up there went like so mega viral and the opinions were just so everywhere.
Yeah. Yeah, that was controversial for more reasons than I was even expecting.
Bro, everything's controversial at this point. It's also because I mean, I'm gonna have a chapter of this in my book, but like no one is immune to this if you spend any time on social media because sub pockets of culture were created. And so, of course, the ones who get the brunt of it are the creators. But a lot of people, they'll spend like a lot of time in the comment sections, right? Like that is their creation mechanism because everybody, we have this natural desire to create, whether that's word, whatever it may be. And so there's a lot more fear and stigma attached to actually being the person on the screen. So a lot of people have become like, not professional because they don't get paid for it, but like full-time commenters, right? Where they'll share their opinion or get their creative outlet, whether it be toxic or positive, through the comment section. So yeah, I don't think anyone's really immune to that. And so a lot of people have become like really pro at sharing their opinion.
Django, who's been a guest on the podcast, actually put up a cool story yesterday. He said, instead of commenting on people's stuff that you don't like, just like hide their stuff. And the point is, he was like, if you comment, you're gonna get more of it. Like the algorithms are designed to feed you that stuff.
That's also what I find so funny, and we're also not immune to this. Like even on a recent video, we deliberately rage baited people, but I just find it so funny how people continue to fall victim to it. Like you can just opt out.
Very true.
But yeah, Django's awesome. We'd definitely love to have him on again in the future, and he's definitely worth the follow. If you like the talk about culture and pop culture, go back to that episode with him. He's really cool.
Absolutely, man. Shout out to Django. So this right here is Meta sparking privacy fears after unveiling their $299 smart glasses with hidden cameras. You can now film everyone without them knowing.
That's just kind of messed up.
And this was old, and yeah, and it's becoming a huge thing right now. And then this guy said, I want a t-shirt that has a QR code in it for some kind of horrible malware, so that if anyone ever tries to film me in public, their phone will automatically scan the code and be reduced to a functionless brick. I was like, that's interesting.
And they're very intrusive, and I guess this is a pivot that's coming from the near billions of dollars that were lost in the whole metaverse bet, where they got to figure out something and quickly, because they lost like absurd amounts of money on the metaverse bet. They changed their whole name to Meta over that.
Yeah, dude. Wild stuff. And yeah, I mean, it's kind of crazy to me, dude. Like, I see all these videos of people doing that, and I'm like, dude, that's kind of wrong, man. Like, I don't know, bro. Like,
no, I think it's kind of messed up too. They lost 70 to 80 billion dollars on the metaverse division.
Yeah.
Dude,
I remember people talking about it then. They're like, this is a huge bet.
It's also a very interesting business case study because Luxottica, which is the company that makes Ray-Ban and most of the sunglasses that are on the market, they have had such a high margin monopoly for such a long time, and they've built up a fair amount of good brand will where people have just become okay with spending like $200-$300 on sunglasses that should cost $25-$50, right? Where that they got that, and then they decided to partner with someone like Meta. It'll be very interesting to see how that goes long term.
Yeah, man. I watched Evan Spiegel's episode on David Senra's podcast, and it was a super interesting conversation because, like, dude, Snapchat like built modern social media. Like, honestly,
What do you mean by that?
they release almost all of the features that are just like normal now. If you really
Stories.
think about it, stories, bro, like we forget about that, but
Yeah.
stories came from Snapchat,
And
bro.
Instagram took that shit.
Completely ripped it.
Yeah.
Um, the glasses thing, they were doing that first. That was his first major
Yes.
pivot was to the glasses. And I'm like, dang, bro, like, dude's really always been ahead of the game. And it was such a cool conversation because he's like, we were always the little guy that just like everything we did, we knew we were
It's
going to
gonna
get
be
copied.
taken. Yeah.
So we just had to like build a moat around like community. And like now they have like a whole subscription business that's like a massive business that I've never even heard of.
Yeah.
And
They,
but
yeah, they really did well with the younger generation. Like when I was in college, we would use Facebook groups to conduct a lot of coordination for events or group
Mhm.
projects, whatever it was. And my sister's generation, who she's what would she be 7 years younger than me? They exclusively communicated via Snapchat. That would
Wow.
be for group projects. That would be
Wow.
for invites to parties. You get thrown in a group chat. I'm like, is this not like anarchy? This is kind of crazy. But yeah, definitely they won. And Snapchat might have been the first social media platform that I like somewhat actively used. Because I had Facebook for a long time, but I didn't really use it. And then in high school, I actively remember downloading Snapchat in like a grade 9 or 10 business class. So yeah, it's
Yeah,
super
man.
interesting.
And like all the filter stuff too, by the way, guys, like that came from Snapchat.
Very good point. Because I was trying to think of what other features did they pioneer, and the face filters totally.
Yes. Yes. Um, all that kind of stuff, man. And so there's definitely other stuff that I'm not thinking of right now, but they Evan Spiegel is the beast, man.
Yeah. People
But
were also so he's the Snapchat guy, right?
yes, yeah.
People were also dogging on him a little bit because he's like, I couldn't imagine like I don't want people to have to live without a world without Snapchat. And then people were like, I think we'd be okay. You know what I'm saying? What's AIM?
Dang, I think they're a manufacturer if I'm not mistaken. But did Snap get bought out? Yeah, well, Snap is a public company. That's the thing. He went public back in the day, so they've
AIM?
just continued to innovate.
Is that
It's a
when I
stock,
AIM is?
but at least I don't know if that's what they are talking about.
I think they're talking about AIM was the original home wrecker. I don't know if that is. Is this
Oh,
the
like
AO?
AI mail, like AI online. I don't know. Like no, I'm thinking of AOL.
Yeah, this AIM AOL Instant Messenger. So it's kind of like MSN Messenger. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
AOL. I had that. I had MSN.
Okay. Interesting, man.
MSN went
Back in
crazy.
the day. And then Yahoo Mail and stuff. Yahoo had their
Yeah,
own little thing.
I never had Yahoo. I was pretty well exclusively an MSN guy.
That's funny. Vince Craddock. Keith, on behalf of the community, what's the end game with the hair? Well, just growing it out, man. Just trying to get it to a healthy length to where it doesn't have to look so awkward. But
I think it looks good.
Thanks, man. We'll get it there. Moving forward, we had an interesting comment from this guy. What'd you see?
When the door sounds open and closes, like they had a lot of things that you could send in. Like, I think MSN had the same one where you could and you could forcefully throw that on people's screens, man. So sometimes it'd be like really like late at night, and I would troll my friends by like sending something that was really loud. And if they had their speakers on, they'd like get in trouble.
That's wild. And then David Sirota here said, if you need proof that you're living inside the most powerful propaganda system in human history, consider the fact that almost nobody can afford anything, and yet this is somehow not by far the top issue covered by the press, discussed in politics, or trending on social media. What do you think of that, Ben?
I feel like it's starting to be, though, no? Maybe we're too close to it. But
that's what I think. I think we just see it because we just see it.
Well, I think a lot of the other media dollars, they're just in places that don't feel the pain, right? I think a lot of people are not very naturally empathetic unless forced to do so, either through proximity or their situation changing. So I think that's a big part of it too. But yeah, when you watch like the mainstream news outlets, was it the Dow Jones is 50,000 or whatever it was? What did she say
Yeah,
on
that was a 50K.
yeah, stuff like that, right? Where definitely people are out of touch, but I think it's becoming an increasingly popular thing. Like, look at Zach's popularity on social. It's like almost all he talks about.
Yes. No, yeah, he's a good example of like on the ground floor. Some people are definitely vibing with that.
So, Sir Night Night, maybe if you were active on MySpace quite a bit, I want to address MySpace in my book, but I can't really because I didn't use it. So like
Mm,
I want to do everything justice, but I'm also going to try to tell the evolution of these things through personal or anecdotal stories, right?
mm.
So I may need to hit up someone for MySpace because I never had a MySpace account, but we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, fair.
I might do that for all the platforms I didn't have one on. I might just like have
An expert.
yeah, say like what was the experience like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. 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 Because Twitter evolved a lot. And Facebook obviously evolved a lot from back then.
Oh, big time.
I
I've
forgot what I
had
was watching.
how long have you had a Twitter account?
I ended up technically getting a Twitter like at the end of high school. So like
Bro, really?
2016, 2017. Yeah.
2010 for me.
Wow. That's way back in the way back machine.
Oh, dude. It's insane to think about.
Bro, people used to like I would just hear about the older kids when I was in middle school, like beefing on Twitter and stuff.
Oh, we had beef on Twitter too. Yeah, one time there was this big fight, and then like the girl that told on us, basically like we all started like beefing each other on Twitter,
That's
and
wild.
we were throwing it was like meme warfare, kind of like what Trump does now. Like people were throwing out like snake emojis and stuff like that, or like one funny meme, so childish, but like I think my friend put it on the Harry Potter sorting hat. And he's like, "You've been selected for Slytherin." That one got a lot of likes, but yeah.
That's wild, bro. Yeah. Yeah, man. That was crazy, crazy times.
That was also culturally relevant in terms of people would mention that on songs a lot too, like trigger fingers turn to Twitter fingers. I think that is that Drake?
Yeah, 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 yeah. You're getting body by singing. Those are some crazy times. Brand One said the other day I was trying to explain to my 10-year-old daughter there wasn't an internet when I was her age. She couldn't understand
Said
at
the
first.
concept. Wow. That makes so much sense.
That's so wild to think about, man.
Yeah. It's even kind of I there's not really much time of my life where I recall not having internet either.
No.
Definitely not for you, because like you when did
No.
when, I'm a 96, so
I'm 99.
like I remember even in my daycare, like they had computers with internet.
Yeah, I
So
definitely didn't see no internet, but it's also so different from what it is now. Like I remember seeing like a terminal on a computer that was like straight like green, the green with the black background kind of thing.
mhm.
So like I saw that kind of a use of a computer that like wasn't about the internet. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
It
yeah,
was more
yeah.
just like an application that you use on it.
It was like for games is how I looked at it largely. I remember
Fair.
going to daycare and we would play those like math games, Math Circus. Did you ever play that?
I don't know about that one.
Bro, Math Circus slapped. I was a king at that joint. Like that goes off topic so much too.
The white guy.
This
The
white guy
white,
goes off topic.
the
too
white
much.
guy is crazy.
I. Well, I can only speak to my own experiences, so I will say I when I have them.
Too much. Okay, yeah. No, I mean we're chatting about our lives, man, and I imagine you guys hopefully have some similar experiences. I think we're seeing a lot of that here. So
Yeah.
I don't know where you're coming from talking about the white guy. His name is Ben Lovett.
My name's Ben. I definitely try to ask questions about everyone else too, but I'll do a better job.
So yeah, in there like the floppy disks and stuff. I never really used them, but I saw them all the time, and I was like, "Oh, this is so cool."
Floppy disk?
Yes. Okay. Listen now. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Isn't that just how you install like hardware?
Yeah.
Or sorry, software, my bad.
Yeah. You would store stuff on them, and like I never actually used it, but I saw them, and I was like, it just was cool. It was like, the CD player kind of thing. You see a bunch of collections of CDs and stuff, or CD holder, like that kind of a thing. I saw that with a floppy disk.
Totally. Yeah, there's some classic games back in the day.
That's so wild how quickly all that stuff must have happened. I don't know. I guess floppy disk was like the OG CD.
I'd assume so. I don't know.
And then you got the CD, and then everything went digital. Yeah. We missed like the beginning, type stuff.
Yeah, I knew what this concept was. So I'm looking at here. Okay, this is actually cool. It's like the perfect visual for this. Let me try to share my screen where it seems like the evolution of the tech. Okay, screen. Whoops. Screen. What the heck? Bro. Now my stuff's just frozen, so I cannot share.
Oh, dang. If you can put in the
chat
doc or something.
I'll try to send it to you. But yeah, here we go. This is pretty cool. It's got like a graphic that shows the floppy disk and then the evolution to cloud computing.
Word. Because there's also like, because CDs did a lot, because technically it evolved the floppy disk, but also it took over VHS. You see what I'm saying?
Totally.
So
yeah.
That's an interesting thing there.
Yeah. The person who bought my mom's house when we first moved, like they were super well off because they had a CD company. And then obviously as things continued to evolve, no one wanted CDs anymore. So that thing went under.
Dang. Let me pull up this thing that you sent here. Virginia Tech Special Collections and University Archives.
So if you scroll down.
Okay. An 8-inch floppy disk. Holy moly, dude.
It's a big old joint.
CD, DVD, USBs. Okay, fair. SD cards and then cloud. Yeah, that's interesting, dude. A CD and then DVD. Yeah, I never thought about the difference between a CD and a DVD either.
I guess it's just one can only take audio.
And so there's what they're missing though is like tapes and VHS too.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Because like those clearly got replaced by CD, DVD as well.
Totally. Yeah, the USBs are still used somewhat frequently. SD cards are still definitely used.
Facts.
And cloud is definitely the biggest one, but that's good stuff, man.
Yeah,
do we have any other news or is that everything?
I do kind of have a little bit more stuff to react to.
Go for it.
But I'll make it quick.
No, you're
we
good.
have I'm almost done paying off my Tate McRae ticket, someone said. And this guy, Fed, said, there is really a whole other world out there. Definitely a crazy thought. Paying off buy now, pay later for your concert tickets.
It's definitely become very, very common.
So wild, man. So wild. And then I saw this here. This one isn't even about the post, but I wanted to point this out. So this guy is saying Kazakhstan bans oil exports for 6 months. I was like, the whole post just looked funny. So I'm like, is that even true? Let me like look at this up. And then I thought to myself, I was like, wait a minute. This dude just took a picture of the word breaking and put it in the post. And I'm imagining then that the reason he's done this is because Nikita basically said that you can't use breaking anymore without that being penalizing.
That's kind of smart.
So this dude took a picture of it instead. I'm like, that's crazy. So that was actually the point of sharing that one in particular.
He's playing chess.
Yeah, dude. And then this one, starting in 2027, smartphones sold in the European Union will need to be required to have user replaceable batteries designed to greater durability and charging cycles. Manufacturers must also produce spare parts and repair manuals for at least 10 years after models released. This is real pressure against planned obsolescence. It should mean phones that actually last longer, cheaper fixes, and a lot less electronic waste piling up.
That seems like a smart move, man. Because with the iPhones, you have to buy a new one largely because the battery goes, man. And they do slow down because of software updates and things of that nature. But yeah, that's definitely that seems something that's welcomed.
Somebody said the new iPhone. with the batteries in it.
Got
Which is
it.
hilarious.
Is it? I remember having to put batteries in everything.
This guy won the Delaware Marathon after sprinting to the finish line as his opponent was celebrating, thinking he won.
No way.
How do you sprint at the end of a marathon?
Guy's a beast.
There's no way that's happening, bro. Like, what? Interesting.
Would you run a marathon?
Dude, I guess if I'm gonna do it, I better do it now, but I don't think so.
Why do it now? What do you mean?
Because, dude, I mean, it's probably crazy thing is I'm like, it might be going downhill from here. You know what I'm saying?
For
as
what?
far as physically?
No, you got tons of time.
Man, we're at that inflection point.
No, especially you're younger than me, and in most like pro athletes, if they're actually taking care of their body and stuff, they peak. Like, you got some time.
Like right now. But I've seen this tweet actually. He's done this before, so this is interesting. Nayib Bukele, who is the president of El Salvador, said it's only at the top with world statistics looking at world leaders' approval rating, with him at 94% apparently.
Wow.
I haven't studied El Salvador enough, but he's definitely done some interesting stuff there, man.
Isn't there a lot of like Bitcoin related things there too?
Well, yeah, I mean, big thing is he was the first country to
That be legal tender, right?
Yeah, exactly. So that was interesting. Hacks in 2026. Crypto hacks. We've had quite a few, 3 in April so far. We had 4 in March, 1 in February, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 different crypto hacks that happened in January, a total of $1 billion. Let that sink in.
That's not chill.
Not chill at all. And this is, someone was saying, like, this is before Mythos is even out there, which was Anthropic's new model. Another thing that I've been seeing happening, ladies and gentlemen, is energy facilities around the world getting blown up and it not really being talked about. Why? We started seeing this, I think, at the beginning of April. I started seeing some of that at least. Here's a list of the major oil refineries, energy facilities being blown up this month. Russia was attacked. Okay, there was a drone that the Ukraine army has been using against them, right? A couple of times they've attacked some of their larger oil export terminals and refineries or whatever. But there's like an explosion that happened at one of India's power plants. Mexico has had, I think, a couple of refineries that have had explosions occur. We had that one that happened in Texas, and I think another one that happened in Texas as of today. So just kind of weird. Like, I, once again, don't know the full statistics of how often this is technically happening, but...
You lost your camera, buddy.
Oh, no. I wonder why that might be. Oh.
But yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to cut off the thought. I just wanted to let you know, in case you're gonna drop some heat.
But no, I got no heat. It's just bombings or explosions happening.
That's not chill. I can't use the tabs here. That's so annoying.
Oh, should be good.
Cool. Did that give me access back? It didn't.
But yeah, so a bunch of explosions happening at these mugs. Anybody have any insight on any of that? Let me know in the chat. Because at this point, I'm like, hey, yo. It feels kind of deliberate, right? As soon as all the world's energy infrastructure and the Strait of Hormuz is already a problem. Anyways. So JetBlue kind of got caught up the other day, blatantly admitting to surveillance pricing in a way in response. And then they panicked and deleted it after they realized they messed up.
Wow.
So what happened here was someone said, I love flying JetBlue, but a $230 increase on a ticket after one day is crazy. I'm just trying to make it to a funeral. JetBlue responded and said, try clearing your cache and cookies or booking with an incognito window. We're sorry for your loss.
Wow.
And then apparently they deleted that. I haven't fully looked at all this. I don't actually know, but I wouldn't be surprised by them deleting a tweet like that. Because they're basically saying, yeah, they're using data about you to set the prices, and it's something that they're not really supposed to be doing to that degree.
Seems like there's more and more of that everywhere.
100%, man. All right, pure jokes. This guy's talking about the Kelp DAO hack. Gabriel Haynes here.
Against our cryptocurrency and do that. Listen, remember I told you that we took a loan against our cryptocurrency in DeFi? Listen. There was a little bit of a hack, and they lost $300 million. But listen. I can't really take out the money that we have there right now, but don't worry. It's only going to be a 5 to 10% haircut. I don't know when they're going to release the funds, but listen, it's DeFi, it's decentralized. It's okay. ETH is going to go up one day. I'm not sure when, but listen, we might have to take a job in the meantime, but listen, our bills will be paid.
I'm not kidding. Did that fucking happen?
Listen, it's going to be fine. Don't worry.
So having to break that down to the spouse about what happened to your money.
That's not ideal.
No. This guy, we talked about this the other day because there was another hack that happened from the North Korean hackers. This one was a little bit more complex. They spent a long time basically socially engineering the hack last time.
Dang.
And we talked about how we showed that video of that guy asking this guy to say something bad about Kim Jong-un to see if he was a North Korean hacker or not. And so this guy googly said, a blockchain where you need to sign F Kim Jong-un to be able to execute any transaction. Who was building this?
That's wild. Because it seems that's such a big part of, it seems like, their economic strategy, because they've been, what's the proper word? They can't trade with a lot of the worlds, and so they need to find ways to generate resources. And so hacking and crypto hacking is definitely a core focus.
What a crazy way to spend your resources. But at the end of the day, it makes sense, right? Super crazy, man. That's the new weapon. That's the defense spending, right? So this one here just finished the cancel subscription feature. Please help to test. So let's see how they did this here.
Gingerbread cat.
Do you feel like leaving? No. You see this? So they make it impossible here, right?
You're staying. Wonderful.
Cancel your subscription.
Gingerbread cat.
Which I just thought is pretty funny.
Some companies' cancel flows are crazy, man. Especially if they're on the web, because they're not as mandated in terms of how they can have it, on the App Store. So people will go crazy. And so if it's ever really hard to cancel, that they're doing that shit on purpose, because they're just banking on people quitting.
It's so wild, bro. I eventually got hip to this, but they'll make the button you intentionally press cancel, and then they'll have two different buttons. One's grayed out, one's shining green.
Yeah.
The one that's grayed out is the one that says, I would like to continue canceling.
Yeah.
It's bro. Stop.
There's so much of that. I'm sure there will be laws put in place, but yeah, it's still a bit of the Wild West with that stuff on web, especially.
Yeah. But this guy is trying to figure out how to eat food in America. Let's hear what he had to say here.
The apple has wax on it and is sprayed in pesticides. You need to wash it off first. The tap water is full of toxic chemicals. Do not use it. The pitcher is made of plastic. It's leaching contaminants into the water. The paper towels are made using bleach. Do not use them. Do not use the paper towels. That rag was washed with toxic laundry detergent. It's in the fabric. The soil is devoid of all nutrients. The apple will have no nutritional value.
It does feel like that. I saw a guy's Instagram post yesterday where he's like, there's nothing we can do. You got to convince yourself that your body is meant to run on this stuff. I turn chlorine water into purified water in my body. And it's honestly, I can get behind that a little bit.
That's awesome. Oh, great. Because yeah, man. I mean, at the end, he just eats the potato chips anyways. I'm like, dang, it's kind of how it feels, man. This guy, he got in his parlay before the big Trump speech on CNBC this morning. So yeah, Trump made a speech this morning. This guy has the Win Las Vegas ticket after he placed his parlay. Does Trump say the hottest country? Iran wants a deal.
Is this real or is it made by AI? It's AI, right?
Yeah, it's fake. But I thought that it was pretty good there. And this is the types of things that are happening in the real world when we look at these prediction markets and whatnot. So that's all I've got for memes and what's it called? And news for today. So
Cool.
last piece would just be to talk a little bit about comments from our previous episode.
Cool.
And then we'll be pretty good to go here. You guys love Zach, so that's super cool. Dave Washington said, get Zach more frequently. The conversations about politics and how it relates to finance is definitely good overlap for y'all. Great show. Super cool. Matthew said, great. Or no, returning guest Zach, one of my favorite when I first started watching M&M content. Always appreciate the different avenues the conversations can take as a result of good relations between the host and guests. Cold game for missing the giveaway. Replay gang, what up?
What up, Replay Gang? We appreciate you. Definitely turn on those notifications so you can tune in live. And like we said earlier, we're going to try to do some evening streams too for people who can't make the time slot during the day. So we'll plan those soon.
Yep. Yeah, and then Sterlachini finally get the hype option on this channel. He'd had it for Keith, but now I got it for both. Good stuff, guys. Forget the people saying y'all changing. I see the growth. The message is still the same. Buck the system and be prepared for the unknown. Shout out to you,
Yeah, that's great. Appreciate you.
And then Zach, very interesting dude. Yep. Win memes and markets mugs. Someone actually said yesterday. Doug Godson. So I got mine, but we got to get them right.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah.
That's awesome. Appreciate all you guys. And so if you are seeing this in the replay, we always look through the comments and we appreciate you leaving those. And so we'd always love to have you live, and we will try to move the times around a bit so more people can show up live. But yeah, we appreciate either way. And then RD asked a question that is not dumb. You said, what is a parlay? So a parlay is just stacking of bets. So it's basically like you're betting on multiple things happening, and to win the overall parlay, everything has to happen basically for the bet to hit, period.
Right. Yep. And so you're stacking all these different things happening. And if you get them all, you win big.
And dramatically dropping down the likelihood of winning. And it really got a lot of young people juiced on parlays because it's one of the only ways where you can, especially on sports, turn like $5 into potentially a lot of money. And because it's addictive, like you want to see that number be so different, right? Like I can turn 5 into like 5K. So to do that, you have to layer on some crazy shit. That's like super unlikely to happen.
Yeah. It's fascinating, man, how this stuff is so well designed to take advantage of our psychology.
It's crazy.
And yeah, so that one is particularly the possibility effect. Once you see what's possible, everything else gets drowned out.
Mm-hmm.
Right? The probability goes away.
Especially because a lot of the people who are betting on these parlays, they're typically taking the over on things, right? So there's a line that gets set. So like, let's say it's a player's prop bet. It might be like the running back is projected. The line is 68, let's say rushing yards, right? And so you either pick over or under. So if it goes 67 and you pick the under, you won. If you go 69, you pick the over, you win, right? A lot of people are going on the over because technically there's always a chance until the game's over, right? Like a lot more people should pick the under on a lot of things. This is not gambling advice. Don't gamble, period. But like, a lot of times people will want to pick the over because of the excitement throughout the entire game. At any given moment, he could go over, right?
Wow. Yeah. The thing that I hear the people saying on the prediction markets is like, nothing ever happens. You should actually put no as the default versus yes for most things. Once again, not condoning that behavior, but just to talk about the psychology, right? Of like, people are expecting things to happen. What's more exciting? What's more fun? And as you said, it's the over or the yes.
Oh, totally. It makes it a lot more exciting, even if it's not statistically likely. And I've also noticed, because I was using them a while ago, that it's becoming harder and harder and harder to win. And it seems like they pay out a lot less than they even used to, probably to get people hooked on what it was. And then it becomes a habit, and then you just do it. So now you train the trigger, right? Oh, on Sundays I bet for sports or whatever it is. It's also why they have the whole, what's that thing called again that Dan runs? Stop betting sports or whatever it's called. Yeah, they do it on Sundays because that's a big trigger for people.
Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's super cool, actually.
Yeah. Last thing, Spotify, right?
Yeah, man. Spotify is somewhere that we host.
Go follow us there. They want you to follow.
They want you to follow, guys. So even if you gave us a review already, hit us with a follow. I mean, yeah, follow us here, right? Come on. We appreciate your support in all ways. So this is the Memes and Markets channel. We've got 107 reviews from you guys. Wow.
Appreciate you.
That is fantastic. Seriously, we appreciate you. The next thing to do is just hit that follow button. It makes Spotify know that you are a true listener and reviewer and you actually care about the content. No comments on this most recent one. No comments on this one either, but just want to make sure, just in case.
You can comment there, and we do see them.
Yeah.
I think some people. We have a few people who comment very consistently, so we appreciate you tremendously.
Yep. Appreciate you guys, and we have released our Spotify playlist for the show, so you can find that in the description as well.
Below. Yes, absolutely. And Lorenzo's a very consistent supporter over there. So Lorenzo, shout out. We appreciate you.
Shout out to Lorenzo Ward.
Lorenzo's a legend. We appreciate you big time. But that's everything from me, Keith. Anything else from you?
That's it for me.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thanks so much for hanging out with us, guys. We really appreciate it. We will be back on Thursday. So make sure if you're watching this in the replay to turn your notifications on so that you can come and interact with the community. And if you are watching the replay, you also can see the live chat, so you can see what everyone else was saying as we were talking. And some of the best content really comes from that as well. So definitely take advantage. We deliberately leave the intro thing on at the end, so that way it doesn't remove the chat. So you can see that long after the fact too. So that's everything for me, man.
That's it. Make today the best day of your lives, fellas.
That's it.
And ladies.
Yeah, don't forget, man. Come on. Appreciate all of you guys. Have a wonderful, wonderful day. Be the light that you want to see, and we will see all of you guys on Thursday. Peace, guys. Bye-bye. Whoops.